Boom, boom.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We are live. We are live, guys. A special, special, special good evening to everybody. How are you doing, Dr. Ferdinand?
Oh, I'm doing well. As you can see, I may not have the light curtain behind me, but I'm wearing the red just like you are, celebrating the season, the most wonderful time of the year.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, it is a warm Christmas, and I'm
Yes.
saying that because we're all into the movie. A Warm Christmas is happening here in the Caribbean. We're having a warm Christmas here in the Caribbean, and we have those actors and the writers and the producers. They're all coming in today. But I'm just gonna leave you a minute and let you greet the people and give them some introductory remarks while we try. Literally, what we're trying to do is to
Uh-huh.
stream on another platform. So give
Okay.
me a moment and go right ahead, Dr. Nick.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we want to welcome all of you joining us, Tyrone and Wayne, and of course the faithful Remium. I hope I'm getting that right. Remium 6070. Really a joy to have you with us again tonight. And Pauline, wow, Pauline, wonderful to have you. Stefano Demaro. Good night to you and Merry Christmas to you as well. A real joy. But listen, most important thing is to share this link because, as you know, we did have a bit of a challenge with the Africa link, the show, the normal link that Marcia would have for the show because of some challenges with YouTube, and we are using a temporary link because they suspended the service there for a week, and so we're using an alternative. And we want to thank Kimar, who's allowed us to facilitate this program on his channel. And so we'd appreciate you sharing as much as you can, Mr. Maximus. God bless you. Welcome, Marlene Seeley. Good night to you as well. Tony Paris, Christmas greetings to you too. Just share as much as you can on your Facebook page, whatever social media platforms you have, and your own Instagram. And I don't know all of these fancy things, but I'm learning, and I'm learning pretty quickly. Because we want to be dealing with some very important aspects tonight. Of course, coming up next month, our Prime Minister has announced that with effect from January the 31st, the old Barbados ID will be obsolete, and you will have to have the new Barbados ID, digital ID. And we want to make that very clear that there is apparently a difference between an identification card and the digital ID. And we're going to be looking at one or two countries that have implemented it and the ramifications that have occurred over that period of time. I have some information, God willing, from the World Economic Forum concerning the significant risks of the digital ID. And I also have additional information from a number of the sources. There are many, many, many organizations and movements, hundreds of them, that have been very critical of the digital ID, and a lion grouping of people. I'm going to be hesitant to call the name of them at the moment, that talk about how the digital ID can be an effective tool against poverty. And yet, in one country of the world where it has been implemented and where there is a significant degree of poverty, it has been used. It has been used and is being used to marginalize certain groupings and peoples within that country. So let us not fool ourselves. Our administration here at Barbados has to tell the people of Barbados to what degree these cards are going to be used, not just now, but in the future. And I'm going to share with you, and I'm sure Caswell is going to be coming on. I'm sure he's going to be sharing with you. We've had some experts on before, and we're certainly looking forward to some other experts coming on and sharing with regards to it as well. They may not come on tonight because, of course, this is the last show before Christmas. The time has just flown by, guys. I mean, I can't believe I was talking with somebody just today, and I said, the first 6 months of the year seem to have gone by the way 6 months should have gone by. But the last 6 months has just shot by. And before we can say, as the old people say, Jack Robinson, here we are at Christmas, and here we are at the end of 2023 on the point of entering 2024. And we enter 24 right at the start with some serious opposition, and we're calling upon the people of Barbados to join us in a march against the imposition of the digital ID. And we're going to show you tonight, as we have previously, why we're doing this, because there are rightful concerns, there are rightful questions being asked, and the government is obligated to answer the questions. Now, let me be very clear. The government is our servant. We are not the servants of the government. The government is the servant of the people. When you take that oath in the president's room, you take that oath to serve, S-E-R-V-E, serve, not to master, to serve. And therefore, from the prime minister back down, all of them, minister after minister, is obligated. Don't get a nasty attitude. Don't get upset. Don't get a disingenuous attitude. Answer the questions. Mr. Ralph Thorne raised this in the House of Parliament this week concerning the questions being asked as it relates to placing the power within the context of the energy agencies in the hand of the minister, of any minister, not just of this current government, any minister solely, because the option is there, whether it be through an organizational established or the minister. And we don't believe any single person has the right to engage the aspects that Mr. Thorne is pointing out. So we want to be very clear. I want to be very clear. Marcia wants to be very clear. Caswell wants to be very clear. Kemar wants to be very clear. You are obligated to give the answer to the people of Barbados, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, resign, leave Parliament so we can have a by-election and put somebody in Parliament who's going to listen to the voice of the people. I've often been told the voice of the people is the voice of God, but keep in mind that this is a minority elected government when only, I think it was somewhere around 30% of the electorate voted in 2022, of which a very small margin of them voted in favor of the current administration. And let us be clear, the majority of the people in Barbados have not voted for this government. And let's joke about this. I was saying 5,000, I'm told no, it's as much as 50,000 people were disenfranchised during the COVID-19 pandemic when this election was called in 2022, in 2021, 2022, over 50,000. And you and I know that in some constituencies, only a few hundred votes could separate candidates in some instances. So if you have as many as 50,000 people that have been disenfranchised because they were not given the opportunity to vote, which is their constitutional right, isn't it? Marcia, it's so good to see you back.
Yes, and I want to say I've been listening to you. I mean, so you are so well versed on this topic, and doing an excellent job. And we're going to, as you know, we're going to talk a little bit more in depth as the show
Absolutely.
goes on. And you're doing such a brilliant job at this, Dr. Nichols. And we're so happy to have everybody on. And guess what? We have people from Nigeria waiting in the waiting room, and so I have to interrupt this great opening that you have.
No, you go ahead, because we want to so much have a warm Christmas, and not only a warm Christmas, but we want. I'm curious. I'd love to see. Is it tomorrow, Marcia, that the TMWS?
Yes.
Is going to the Olympus cinemas to view this? Is it tomorrow?
No, we're working on Boxing Day.
On Boxing Day. Okay.
Yeah, we could go on Boxing Day to see a warm Christmas. But before we do that, let me just let everybody know that we are live at the moment for the first time. We are live on Instagram. We've always been
Oh,
on
wow.
YouTube and
Wonderful.
Facebook, but through StreamYard, we're able to do multi-stream platform, be on several platforms at the same time. And so we are live on Instagram. So those of you who liked that, you can go ahead and watch it on Instagram, just the first hour, because Instagram only allows us to stream for the first hour. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Wonderful.
we have, and I'm happy that this section of it will be on Instagram. I am seeing my wonderful, wonderful friend there, Regina Udalor. And she is a wonderful, well accomplished Nigerian filmmaker, and has done a tremendous job with Lost Cafe, has been nominated and won several awards. This film also is an award-winning film. And let me tell you guys, when you go to the cinema and you see A Warm Christmas, I mean, the production value looks all the way up. And I know quite, yes. Okay. People are saying, okay, they're gonna go. So guys, you really need to get to the Olympus, and we want someone is saying they don't want to go on Boxing Day because they eat too much. We will discuss. Anyway, as an aside, but we have with us again Regina Udalor, and she's a producer and director of A Warm Christmas, the Christmas movie from Nigeria, which premieres here in Barbados, and doing well at the Olympus cinemas. And we've been talking about it all week. We had her on first, and then we had her son, actually, one of the child actors on, and he did a brilliant job. So let me just welcome Regina again. Welcome, Regina.
Hi, Marcia. Thank you very much. And how are you doing
Yes.
today? How are you doing?
Welcome. Yes. So good to see you again and be
you.
connected so close, so far, and yet so near.
Exactly.
Oh, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. Joy to
I
have
mean,
you again.
you are beaming. How do you feel to have a world premiere of your movie, A
Wow.
Warm Christmas, no pun intended there, in warm Barbados, in the warm Caribbean?
Yes.
What's the feeling? Tell me what that feels like, Regina.
Honestly, I think it's like you said, it's overwhelming. You know, sometimes when you're going through the whole process, you don't have a moment to actually take everything in. But being on the show so far has actually been making me realize that as well. Like, oh my God, we're in Barbados, like seriously. And I'm really sorry to say this to the Nigerians, but they haven't even watched it. So, so it is.
Wow. Well,
it's
you know,
bigger.
Marcy,
Yeah.
I was
Go
actually
ahead,
thinking,
Dr. Nichols.
I was actually thinking how privileged we are in Barbados. I mean, when you consider over 190 something countries in the world, and why in the world would Regina choose Barbados? I mean, on some maps of the world, you can't even find the dot at 13.1, 59.1 degrees.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting wondering, you know, what made you choose Barbados to be the place to launch the premiere showing of this movie?
Well, God, to be candid, and
Wow.
the connection with Massy and Dave, we've had a friendship that has been going on for more than 4 years now, about 5,
Uh-huh.
6 years, and one of the best thing that has happened to us has been collaborating with each other, sharing our ideas, and naturally seeing what are the possibilities to bridge the gap, you know, between the continent and, you know, we will call it the mother, and
The motherland.
the motherland and
Yeah.
the diasporans, you know. Interestingly, I grew up on the motherland, but I'm also in the diaspora right now. So I guess maybe that is for a reason, because then, like we know now, it's in Barbados, and we are very, very happy and proud that we are the first film to be screening in the theaters, and it's a Christmas film, and it's a warm
Wow.
Christmas. So
Wow.
naturally, we just want everybody to go out there and watch this film. Like, you would not regret it. It's full of culture. It's full of all the things that you feel that you don't know about Africa. Just go watch it.
Yeah, Regina, can you tell us? You see, I'm smiling because this film makes you want to smile.
Yes.
There, you have some people with you in the studio, and can you introduce them to us? I'm seeing Ruby is here, and
Yes.
I'm seeing Johnson. Is that the same Johnson that I know? But go ahead, please.
Yes. It's same John. So I'll just do the. So ladies first, right? Ruby is honestly, she's my sister now. I'm sure Marcia, you understand this. I'm always dragging everybody. She's the lady who adds the character Anya in the film, which the children were calling Anya. So you remember the one on the phone call in the car?
Yes.
The picture of the car, the one sitting in front with the blue. That's Ruby. And her character is you know, I'll allow her speak more. But her character for me was it was the core of the whole piece. You know, you have grandma, you have Ruby, and then you had the kids who came from abroad. So Ruby is the bridge, basically, of getting the kids to understand what it means to be back home, and of course, naturally, have them build a relationship with the family and Nigeria as a country, or in a bigger perspective, Africa. And then, of course, you have Johnson that you know. Johnson is, oh my God, he's everything. Editor, colorist. He was, and he's a producer as well on the show. On the film, he's a producer as well. So I'm very proud of that.
Listen, you see how I'm smiling because let me hold back what I have to say, and let me hear. Could you introduce Loy, please? Loy,
yes, Lois. Oh my God, Lois. Hi, good to see you. This is actually a reunion for all of us right now because the last time we saw each other was on set last year.
Wow.
So Lois, you know, plays Zara, and it was really beautiful to work with Lois. And I also loved the way they had a beautiful connection with the kids. They all met each other on set for the first time, but you know, somehow they were able to build the connection real fast, and it didn't really show at any point that they had just met. And of course, I love their relationship with Ruby and Lois. Yes, that's the picture.
Wow, this is so very well done. Honestly, guys, I am beaming. I really, really am beaming, and it's good to see everybody here. So Lois is the one with the phone. Is she the one with the phone?
Yes, she's the one with the phone. And then you met Omachonu, the one in the middle, but we've not been able to get Kayla yet. She's the other girl, and then you have Ruby in front.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Well, let me tell you something. You know, I want to go right to Johnson. I want to go to Johnson because Johnson, I am looking at this film and I am saying to Dave, I said, Dave, the production, the coloring, because I would have seen this film before it was colored. I saw it.
Yes.
And by the time it came back, I was like blown away by it. I really was blown away. And listen, it looks so good, Johnson, in the cinema. It really does. And I feel so proud of it, you know, for my friend Regina, and for you as well. And you know, we'll be calling on you. You have done well, sir. You have done well. And it looks wonderful from the motherland. And I'm happy for you. And it looks great. Yes? How was it for you being involved?
Say it again.
How has it been for you? What has the experience been like for you being involved with the film?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for me, when Regina came to us with the script, and I saw the scripts, I'm a Christmas person. I would celebrate Christmas before I celebrate my birthday. So when the script came and it was a Christmas story, I said, "Oh no, Regina, I have to do this. I have to be on this. Whatever happens, I just want to be a part of this project because Christmas for me is a moment of gift and love and all." So when the story came, I said, "Okay, I was going to do this." And we started filming. Like, we're not going to film, we started filming. The budget went from small to big, and it was a lot of experience for me because even to work with, like, I mean, to work with kids, like to work with the actors that we got and the time that we actually made it, you would see that everybody, they are like one big family. Where if you see the chat group is still on after almost about a year of filming, people still say stuff on the group chat, so you get to feel that love. So for me, working on One Christmas just gives me that joy, and to be able to experience, I mean, I'm a Nigerian, but to be able to experience my culture in another person's culture who is also a Nigerian, it's beautiful because the film is like culturally informative, because if you watch it, you'll be able to learn about, okay, what kind of song, why do these people like beat the drum? There's a part where they were like beating drum around. I've never been, like, I mean, to a village to have this kind of Christmas gathering or celebration. And I saw that through this film, and I was like, this is beautiful. So for me, yeah, like, I mean, it's always like, I mean, I'm always happy when I think about A Warm Christmas, like, as a story. So I feel people should actually go to the cinema and see this film. Man, you would experience culture, and like, it will provoke your memories, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And I remember the classes that you did here in Barbados via Zoom, and you taught coloring, and to see your work. So I will be definitely letting the students know. Guess who worked on this film? Like, you need to see the quality of this. It looks amazing. It does. It does. And we will be calling on you. But thank you so much. Let me chat a little bit with Ruby. Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Marcia. Hi, everyone. Hi, Regina. Hi,
Oh,
John.
how is Nigeria right now? You're a couple of days away from Christmas, girl. What's happening in Nigeria?
Nigeria is good. I mean, it's busy, especially Lagos, because the Christmas season. So everyone is partying, celebrating one thing or the other. So, but it's great. It's great. Thank you. How
Yes,
is it?
yes. Oh, in Barbados, busy as well. You know, we put up new curtains. You know, you see my curtain behind me. We do a lot of lights, and you know, it's like really, really festive. Not as big as your Yam Festival. Dr. Ferdinand is saying he doesn't have any big
I
curtains.
know. Yes.
But it's so good to hear about what's happening in Nigeria. Do you put up new curtains as well in Nigeria?
Usually we put up the Christmas lights, Christmas trees. Yeah, mostly that's the basically decorations. Yeah, we do put up
And
decorations.
Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Yes, do you hang those Christmas cards, like, on, on, we used to do that years ago.
Yes.
Remember that, Marcia? We used
Yes.
to take all the Christmas
But I
cards
don't
and
know
hang them on wire.
about if
Can
they
you say that again, Ruby?
Yeah, I said yes, we do put up Christmas cards, but those were mostly like years back. But I don't know if we will still do that.
Well, I know,
No.
like, here in Barbados, we go as far as painting houses and buying new furniture. I mean, people really
Really?
go all out for Christmas. Yes, they will repaint
Wow.
their homes. They will go to the stores and buy. I was out today, and people were buying televisions,
Wow.
and because it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Look at her face. You know the thing about this. Look at the face.
I'm
And
shocked. I'm shocked.
you're shocked, but you see, this is what it's all about. You see, this is what it's all about. This is what the A Warm Christmas movie is about. It's about the cultures
Yes.
coming together and us seeing how we celebrate Christmas, right? The meeting of the culture. So tell me about your experience in A Warm Christmas and about the role that you play. Did she
Say
stop?
that again.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a network. Ruby, are you back?
Okay. Can you say
Right.
that
I was
again?
asking you to tell us about your role in A Warm Christmas and your experience in being part of it.
Okay, I play Anya, who is the cousin to the kids who come from Canada. And I mean, she's lived her whole life in the village with her grandparents, and that's all the life she has basically known. And then meeting with her cousins from Canada, and then having to, like, take them through the culture and what it means to have experience and celebrate Christmas in the village in Nigeria. And for me, it was a humbling experience, to be honest, to be able to tell the story of a different culture entirely from mine. I mean, in Nigeria, we have tons and tons of cultures and as a people, and then to be able to tell this story of these people was just such a humbling experience for me. And getting to work with the entire cast and crew was really such a beautiful experience. We had beautiful actors on set. We had amazing people. We had Regina, the director. She's amazing, super, super amazing. And for me, it was such an amazing experience.
And awesome, Ruby. And what would you want to say to the people of Barbados about this film? What do you want to say to them?
I just want to say you guys are blessed and lucky to be seeing this film before we, the Nigerians. So you better go get your ticket in the theaters and watch A Warm Christmas. I haven't even seen the film fully myself. Despite
Wow.
so you guys are having a good time, and you guys are in for a beautiful, beautiful experience with A Warm Christmas. So go get your tickets to see it at the theaters.
Well, Marcia, why don't they just fly over? Because there are no direct flights from Africa to Barbados. As far as I know, just fly on over and
Fly
come
over, and we will put you up. Our houses will be
Yeah.
well painted, and we have beautiful curtains and lights and enough food. But Ruby,
Yes,
I
lots of
want to congratulate you on a wonderful job. I saw your acting, and you were fabulous. You were that wise cousin, and you were always on them. You always on them. Yes, I love it. You did a beautiful job, and we hope you can make it to Barbados. I am seeing here. Where is Lois? Louis or Lois?
Lois.
Lois, are you still there?
I think
Lois?
she's also probably having network issues. If I'm not mistaken.
I wish we'd be able to talk with her. Well, while we sort that out, let's just watch watch a trailer. And those who I know you all. Oh, Lois is here. Hey, Lois. Lois, we thought we lost you, but I still just want to play the trailer a little bit. And well, we have a trailer, but we also have there's a shorter version of it that I'm trying to find, and I think
Join me this Christmas season at the Olympus Cinema for a brand new Nigerian family film, A Warm Christmas, as a westernized Nigerian family encounters the depths of true family back home in Nigeria. Laugh and cry as this family wrestles with the strength of the African tradition in a real and fascinating way. This award-winning film will inspire you by the love, the warmth, and the faith of the African way as father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and grandchildren meander into discovering what Christmas really means and how it is celebrated in Africa. Don't miss this timely film at the Olympus. Check their website for showtimes and bring the entire family for a warm Christmas this Christmas.
beautiful. Isn't that?
Thank
Yes,
you,
yes,
beautiful.
yes, yes, yes.
That
Lois,
is
how do you
so
feel?
beautiful.
Lois, good evening, Lois. How do you feel watching that?
Mhm. Sorry, I
Good
didn't get
evening.
that.
How do you feel watching that?
Yeah, I'm so excited, honestly. Very excited.
Yes, yes, and seeing those beautiful cuts, and Johnson has done such an amazing job of the coloring and
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
the finish on that film. I just love it,
Quality
Johnson.
is really good.
It's very good. It looks
Yeah.
lovely. He has done a fabulous job, and I feel really proud of this is coming out of Africa, our people, and to know that this is us, and so this is great. And Lois, we're so happy about the role that you played and the part that you played
Thank you so
in
much.
it. Yes. What do you want to say to the people of Barbados tonight?
Well, I'm still going to say the same thing Ruby said. You guys are so lucky to have seen it before every one of us here in Nigeria, honestly. Because, I mean, when the whole process of shooting and everything, because technically we're behind the scenes, right? We haven't even seen how it even looks in person. And then you guys
Wow.
are seeing it like first, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. But then again, thank you for the reception. It's having amazing. Like it has really good reception. Thank you all so much, people of Barbados.
Well,
Thank
you are
you for
so
reaching us
very
out.
welcome, and we feel so honored, especially for Africa. There's been a lot of talk and interaction with African Barbados over the last couple of years, and if you ever look at the shape of Barbados and kind of turn it upside down, it's actually the same shape as Africa. If you take it and turn it, okay, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting. We've had a lot of interaction over the past couple of years with people from Africa. Some of your leaders have visited our country from Rwanda, and I think from Ghana, one or two of the other countries, and I am looking forward to coming. I've been to Africa many times virtually, but I like to come in reality and experience. Don't ask me to pronounce any names. I'm hopeless when it comes to English names, far less African ones. But it's
Well,
it's
at least
exciting.
I can at least pronounce the first names: Ruby, Regina, Lois,
Yes,
Johnson. You hear I'm going? But
but
listen,
but
don't
those
listen.
but those are the English names. Those are not the African names. Now let them tell us the African names, and let me hear you again.
Well, it wouldn't be
I
too
wouldn't bother.
difficult.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother with the last name. So Ruby, Ruby, what's your favorite food in Nigeria at Christmas time?
I think my favorite food at Christmas time is jollof rice and chicken with salad.
All right.
I'm going to have to learn about these. What fries? Jello fries, or is that
Yes.
right?
Jollof
Jollof
rice.
rice.
Jollof
I'm
rice.
going to have to.
Lois, what's your favorite thing to do at Christmas time, Lois?
Yes, definitely to eat and go out. So I think my favorite food would be ofen salad. It's a white
Mm-hmm.
soup.
The what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Repeat
that's
what
really
kind of
nice.
salad? Repeat the salad.
White soup. What? Ofen salad, that's what it's called. Maybe you say white soup.
Oh,
White
soup.
soup.
It's a
Yeah.
certain kind of soup that you have at
Yeah.
Christmas time. And
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
do you have like black cake? Do you have like fruit cake, Lois? Do you have fruit
Yes,
cake?
yes, we do.
You do.
But
Ooh.
we actually do more of the what I call chin chin.
Yes,
That's
I
just
was
like
about saying that
yeah,
cake isn't
we do more
really
of
our
chin chin
thing.
here. We don't
Yeah.
really do cake.
You do. What do
We
you
do
do?
chin chin. Chin chin. It's called chin chin.
Chin chin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain. What is that? Is it a pastry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it's like a
pastry.
pastry. It's just a pastry.
It is a pastry. Wow. Oh Lord, Regina, you gotta let me taste that, girl.
Well, you've said it all. I think, girls, Marcia has invited us. We need to plan a Barbados trip, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
I
Johnson is
second.
here
I
too.
second
Johnson.
that. I second that. Here you go. Here you go. There it is.
Oh, that's our black cake.
There
Hold it
it
there.
is.
Hold it there, and let me put you on the
Ooh.
bigger screen so that they could see it. So
Wow,
that's
that
what.
is
Ooh,
pretty.
wow.
that's the black cake there. That's the black cake that we
And
do.
unfortunately, I don't have any ham and turkey to show you.
But guys, we are so proud of you all. We really are.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and Johnson isn't in. I'm so proud of you all and the work that you have all done and with this film. And we are those of you who are listening. I'm seeing Tyrone, Romeo, all of you are on, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, and those who are going to watch it again on Carib Vision. On
Oh,
Carib
wow.
Vision, we go into 16 different Caribbean countries. A lot of times we don't remember that. But we whenever you see, even when it's past the Christmas time, the good thing about Christmas movies, Regina, as a producer, and Johnson, you know that it's a gift that keeps on giving. And
Yes.
so even whenever you see it on Netflix, wherever, make sure that you click that and you watch it wherever you see it, because it is from us, right? And
Yes.
it's a warm Christmas coming to you from Nigeria. And so we want to go out, everybody. We're going to make an outing of this on we're going out on Boxing Day. Somebody said the belly will be too full to go to a movie. Come on, let's all just go to the movie. And we're going to be at 3:30. 3:30. Let's
3:15. 3:15.
3:15, right? So
3:15, yes.
we're gonna
Mhm.
make an outing of it, and we're all going to go to see A Warm Christmas on Boxing Day, okay? And we're
But
gonna take
Oh,
pictures.
that would be
Yes,
great.
go ahead.
But Marcy, you said something just about Carib Vision. All right. And I understand from the last time I did an event and it went out via Carib Vision that it also went out to the diaspora of Barbados in the US and Canada.
Yes.
So it's a real possibility, you know. It's a pity that we can't show the Warm Christmas on your show.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. No. As a filmmaker, I can tell you, not yet. We're not doing that. We are, listen,
But
our
it's
Step by Step is a distributor over here. We're not doing that to that movie.
but
People
it's
gotta
such
be
a, I mean,
paid.
it's
People gotta be
such an
paid.
honor, really, to think that you haven't even shown it in your own home country and that we have it here in Barbados. I
Yes.
mean, as I said at the beginning, of all the countries in the world. And it just goes, Marcy, I must say this. Those of you, you know, Marcy is actually Jamaican. And she's married to a Barbadian. She's from another Caribbean territory. And to see her invest such interest and invest such time and promote our country as much as this, you know, in Africa, and bring the attention of Africa to Barbados is absolutely amazing. And you should be commended, Marcy, for doing such a great
That's
job
true.
in bringing, you know, this kind of excellence. I was just watching an article about a guy that produced brand new tires from Africa. There's a lot of excellence in Africa that we don't know about, and I really must say that you're to be commended for bringing us this level to show us that they are just as good in Africa as they are in Hollywood. I don't know if what you'll call it, Regina. You can't call it Bollywood, you can't call it Hollywood, but I'm sure you'll come up with a name.
No, they already have a name. It's called Nollywood.
Nollywood.
Nollywood,
Okay.
yes.
Good. Nollywood.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm writing that down. Nollywood.
Oh my God. Well,
Nollywood.
not
Got it.
everybody likes Nollywood, but yeah, that's okay.
No, but it is, and you guys are doing a great job, and the
Yes.
production
Wonderful.
values are just going up. Regina, as we close, sorry we don't have a lot more time,
Yes.
but I want you, I'll give yourself and Johnson the last words on this, to speak to the people of Barbados and the Caribbean, and to say what's on your heart. What do you want to say to them before you go?
Okay, so take pictures. it's a really memorable moment. Just like everybody has said, we haven't even seen it in Nigeria. Well, I've seen it because I'm the director, and Johnson has seen it because he edited the film, right, and colored it. So, and it wasn't really planned not to show it in Nigeria. Just some other things happened. So we would be having some of the screenings in January. Just like Marcia said as well, Christmas films aren't meant for only Christmas time, you know. It's funny because sometimes I sit in my house too, and I'm, you know, with all the troubles in the world, sometimes I'm like, I just want to watch a film. I don't have to stress so much about trying to think. And I put on a Christmas film in June, summertime, and I watch. So please go out there, watch it, take pictures, and definitely share with all of us. I'm sure we'll be very happy. And I'm very grateful, like Reverend said, about this opportunity of having the film in Barbados, the first country ever out of every other country. In Norway, we did only a premiere, really. And so Barbados is actually the one getting the experience of the film, the beauty of the film. So we're really happy that you guys can take this film and also can get to watch it. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And listen, the editor and colorist that I'm like this. I'm like this, Johnson. You're my
thank you, thank you so much.
Amazing. You did amazing, Johnson. What do you want to say to your Barbadian people, your Bajan people, Johnson? You know you're part of us.
Yes, I know my people. Please, I need you guys to go to the cinema to see this film because it's a family film. It's when you watch all the Avengers movie and you want to settle down, I feel this is a movie you should watch with your family, with your kids. They would love it. And I'll be in Barbados next year to come and test that black cake. I really, really would like to experience your culture as well. So yes. My culture.
And we would love to have you. Johnson, we would love to have you. And
absolutely,
you get ready.
Absolutely.
You're going to color my next movie. You're coloring my next movie.
Absolutely.
No problem. We're here. We're here for that.
So I wanted to say, Marcia, sorry, I just wanted to say that just like you spoke about Johnson, we also have Ray who did sound and music in the whole film. And I have to tell you a secret. Ruby actually sang one of the songs. So if there's anybody who finds out which song Ruby sang in the film, there'll be a surprise.
I'm going to have to. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Ruby. I'm going to check that out. When we come back on, we'll say. Now, somebody wants to know if they need to buy tickets in advance. Tony Paris, I don't believe so. Unless we were buying out the cinema. But no, we don't. So you can just go ahead, and it's a 3:15 show, and you will see us all there. Okay, Tony Paris. So go ahead and you can purchase your ticket on the day. All right. Hopefully there'll be tickets. All right, or do it ahead of time. Yes. Yes. Okay. So you can use the hashtag a warm Christmas. So we can find your pictures. When you take your pictures, you put hashtag a warm Christmas. So we want to take some pictures when we go together. And for those of you who are coming, remember, I tell you, I like jug. You hear? I like jug. So make sure you bring your jug. And I know I'm going to have to warm it up, but I love my jug.
You're going to have to tell Regina and the others what is jug.
Listen, I'm going to have to tell them off the air because right now the others, we have some serious issues to deal with. Yeah. We're having fun now, but then we have some serious issues to deal with in Barbados. So we're going to have to run now, but thank you all so very much for coming on. And Regina, we're going to try to have you on after Christmas. Okay. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas to all of you. God bless you.
Christmas.
Bye, Ruby, and bye, Lois. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow, yes.
Awesome.
That was amazing.
That was just awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. We had so much fun, and now we got to serious matters.
Okay, you notice my smile has gone. My smile is gone. Oh God, I can't keep it off very long with the general in the room. Good evening, Caswell. It's so good to see you. So
Yeah,
good to
good
see
evening.
you.
Good evening. While I was listening, so I kind of enjoyed that last segment,
Yes.
and trust me, if I try to go to the theater, no, that would be. Well, I might even make it, but I haven't been to the theater in 20 years.
Oh wow.
And unfortunately, I am not going to be able to make it, Marcia, because on Boxing Day, they begin the production of the Singing Christmas Tree at People's Cathedral, and I'm one of the singers in the production. So,
Congratulations.
but you said 3:15 though, right?
Yes.
Oh, I might be able to squeeze it in because I think that begins at 5, so I might
That's
just be able
fine.
to
Well,
squeeze
look,
it in.
let us know. Let us know, and we
Yeah,
will sort it out for you.
yeah,
But
I'm gonna
yeah,
try.
yeah. I think that it is good if we can make it.
Yeah.
And how are your Christmas preparations going, everybody? Did you start to season the meat? And what are we doing in the midst of all that's happening? Usually at this time, we're also focused on our all the various things that we're doing at home. But we've had to stop the cleaning and the seasoning. I'm going to be seasoning up all my meats when I'm finished this program tonight because I love to cook. So I'll be doing a lot of that when the program is over. But we had to come on tonight because we have to talk about some serious issues. I know we need to jump right in. Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
I was very pleased that Barbados is going to be the first country to see this film. And, I said, well, at least now we are the first with something good. I was saying, oh, thank you, this is, at least now something good. Because we were the first country for certain other things. And you know what I'm talking about, Marcia.
Yes, yes,
And people are still dying from them. The guinea pig us. I don't mind being a guinea pig for this show. You know what I mean?
Or for that movie.
I'm talking about the movie.
Ah.
So at
Oh
least
yeah.
we are chosen for something that is uplifting.
yes. I have on the screen, Mr. Franklin. It says Lewy March. We have to bring that back. No distractions. At this time of the year, we're told that January 31st will be the deadline for people to get their Trident IDs. And people are calling me. My phone, it's Christmas, and people are still calling. They're very concerned about these IDs. And a lot of persons, some persons have collected the national ID, the ID part of it, but they are not wanting to pin their IDs. Can you say what are your thoughts about that? What do you say to people who say they don't want to pin their ID? Is there any reason to that, or people are just going off there being crazy about it? What are your thoughts?
First of all, government has not explained this to anybody. We
Correct.
just heard the Prime Minister making certain statements, and they have not come down and explained to the people of this country what are the pros and cons of this. They are just saying that they are mandating this on people in Barbados, but we don't know what they are putting us in. And when you look at the situation where they passed this piece of legislation without telling anybody in Barbados what they were doing, the only people who knew that was being passed were the people in Parliament. And I happened to be out of Parliament that day, so I didn't even know. And it's only when Winston sent it to me 2 years later that I realized that the thing had passed. Because when he said, I thought it was a bill to be debated. And when I checked, I realized this thing passed already. So government sneaked it in. And when you're doing things like that and you coming through the back door, I now tell people I am suspicious. I'm a suspicious person up front. I when it comes to dealing with government, I always suspect their motives. Whichever party is in power. Even when I was involved in politics, I used to always suspect my own people, because I always like to scrutinize. And when you see a situation where they don't allow us to scrutinize and they did it on the sly, I say a lot more is in the mortar than the pestle.
Yes.
And when I did my check-in, I realized that this card, if you pin it, it will be able to get into your business. Everything about you will be on this card. They will know if you had the cold, as long as you went to the doctor. They will know if you got AIDS. They will know if you got a kidney stone. They will know everything about you. They will know how much money you spend at whichever supermarket. They will know everything. I do not want people to know all that business about me. I am basically a very private person, and I like to keep my business my business. And I do not trust government with my details. And trust me when I tell you that if the government it has custody of my information and they put it online, so far, I do not know of any government department that has not been hacked. Next thing you know, my information will be all over the world. A little while back, I had credit cards. I only use one now. I'm getting rid of all the rest of them. I pay them off and I'm done with that. Because ever so often, somebody in Midwest United States, somebody in England, I've had access to my information. And using my card, I have to go and stop and tell people, I know nothing about this. People actually use my information in stores, not even online, in stores in the States. And trust this when I tell you this, and I'm very serious about it. Barbados is barely limping along when it comes to cybersecurity. And we have corporations that have more money than Barbados, and they get theirs hacked. You really feel that we both here messing around, don't know what we are doing, hiring friends, putting people like Kim McConney, who does nothing about what you're talking about, to manage this process, and then all of a sudden, I'm supposed to trust the government? Well, I don't trust them now, and then I can trust them with my intimate details. If the people of Barbados so love these people and trust them, go ahead, pin it. I want an ID card that can fit into my wallet. And I would welcome that aspect of it. The part that you can just say, this is Caswell Franklin, date of birth, height, the same information that you have on the big ID card that we have now, that they claim will expire. Don't know how ID card expires in Barbados, but they are now saying that if you do not take this new ID card, you wouldn't get a national registration number. You can't go and access services at any government department that do business. You can't even go to the hospital. And why would government take this initiative from people overseas? Because this is not a Barbados thing. We jump on it because our our Prime Minister has gone overseas, can't help flying about the place, go and get into things that she does not understand. She does not know what she is doing, and rush out there, and anybody could mislead her. This is when you are one of those people who think you are brighter than you actually are, and she goes out there, people full ahead with nonsense, and she comes back and imposes it on us. And the United States, they're saying no. Why would the United States say no if this thing is so good for you? Canada has embraced it. Well, they haven't embraced it, but
look at what happened.
Yeah,
look at what happened.
I'm getting there because with your information available, the Prime Minister of Canada, when they had the truck drivers who were barricading,
the protesting during the pandemic. Yeah.
They had their accounts frozen. They couldn't get to buy baby milk for their children. The Prime Minister did that I
That's
don't
right.
want any Prime Minister of Barbados who can stop me from spending my own money. And just giving instructions, type a few things, and you can't get your own money even though it's there. You can't get your hands on it. And I know our Prime Minister has that same potential because 2 years ago when we had the nurses strike, she gave instructions not to pay, to take out the money from people's accounts. And they didn't have the card yet. So you can imagine it would have been more difficult because she had to go through the bank's headquarters or whatever else to get the money taken out. Now, with the card, you don't have to do that. You just stop it. I don't want to pin my card. I want a card, yes, that can, mind you, this is a cute fella on this card, do have Marcy, I must say. You know, but I don't want to have to be worrying if I put a couple of dollars in the bank that when I go back, it's still there. And this card has potential for doing that. If for no other reason than that, because the Prime Minister can make you a pauper. I keep hearing she talking about we have so much money and what they want to utilize it. Maybe we spoke about that last time, and she wanted to utilize it. She wants to get her hands on everybody's money. She wants to make sure she is a dictator.
Yeah. You
And
know,
this
let
card
me
is
pause
capable.
you, let me pause you there and just welcome those who are watching on Instagram. We're on Instagram for the first time officially as the Marcia Week Show. And they are going to leave us because Instagram only allows you to be on for 1 hour at a time. And so we are going to lose this live in about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. And so I want to thank them for joining and to let them know that we're going to be on again. To look for us over the holidays. We should be on again the Friday after Christmas, back again, and we might do some recordings over there as well, so that people can just kind of watch and see what is happening, right? Yes. But let me just have Dr. Ferdinand just to outline quickly for the Instagram viewers as they're going to go in a minute. What are some of the challenges even the WEF has with the digital ID before we go?
Well, interestingly enough, you know, Marcia, the WEF actually on their website indicated there's some significant risks of the digital ID, and they spoke about the aspect of it being used to facilitate surveillance and persecution of individuals or groups. And this is something we are seeing in India. You might recall that there was a real push by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the use of digital IDs to alleviate poverty. And it was actually implemented in India. And what is being experienced in India right now, from my research and my reading, is that in India, they're actually experiencing the marginalizations and persecutions and victimizations of individuals using the ID card. You know, and I think it is important for us to recognize that there is a bit of, and I'll correct myself here, there's a bit of a difference between the ID card and the digital ID. What we're talking about here is the digital ID. And that digital ID can be tracked. You can see when you have persons, and casual, you know that our Prime Minister has actually expressed regarding this show and regarding persons on this show as engaging in matters of treasonous activity. Now, imagine with that type of an expression, if she has the power that we saw Prime Minister Trudeau exercise in 2022, 2021, 2022, that we may be experiencing the same shutdown of our accounts. And from my research, it shows that the moment you pin the ID card, what you actually do is you grant permission for accessibility to your information. It's like you know, when you sign on to these different apps, Marcia, you have to sign in and say, you know, give them permission. Once you click on allow, that's it, and you can't pull it back. And so it's really important. Even the World Bank has been inundated with people who have expressed significant concerns for the abuse of the digital ID.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Ferdinand, and for making that distinction, because there are lots of Barbadians who are just getting the ID. They're just getting the ID, but they're not pinning it, and it is the pinning that is the issue. We had a cyber expert, Neil Harper, who says from the sheer fact that so many of the different services in Barbados and the different industries, even the Ministry of Health, have been hacked so many times. We cannot depend on the government to keep our data safe, and data is gold. And I don't know, if people remember that show that we did with Neil Harper, and he listed the number of industries that have been hacked. And how sure are we that when we pin our ID, that all of our information would not be on the net, like how the voters registration, all that information, Caswell, that was
Exactly.
placed
Exactly.
on the. I remember that everybody's business
Yes.
was out on. Let me just say a final good night to our Instagram viewers, and they should be off now. And so we just want to thank them for joining us. And please watch us when we come on right after Christmas again. Yes, back to you, Mr. Franklin. I can tell you want to say something there.
Now, Marcia, my thing is, we have to let the government know that, and just trust Ralph Thorne now, because Ralph Thorne said you got to talk to the people. You saw the thing with Ralph Thorne. I was so proud of him. It's funny.
We're going to talk about him. When we finish this, we're going to go straight into Ralph Thorne. Yes.
But he is telling them what we have been saying all along.
Correct.
And
talk to the people.
We did need to explain to us why this is necessary. Why is it so urgent? And why they passed it without telling anybody. And then to see that they have such draconian measures in it. You can't get a passport, you can't get a driver's license, all kind of madness you're telling me. I would have to get locked up for driving without a license, because I will not pin that card.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a card. It isn't even a good, nice, attractive ID card, but I want one just, that can hold in my wallet. But I will not sacrifice my privacy. I will take them to court first. I will go to court, and I know I will have to end up before the Caribbean Court of Justice, because our courts in Barbados seem to favor government. And when one judge who has not been favoring government, she said in her decisions that she decided, or the decision was made for her to recuse herself. When I hear that, my hair stood up on my neck, because that is dangerous. When the judge could come out and say something to that effect, and I have not heard any retractions, any explanations for that statement, it tells me that the judges are being pressured. And I want somebody to come and say, Caswell, that is not true. That she didn't mean it that way. I've not heard that so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I hear that, and I don't hear any corrections, any modifications, anything, I get even more scared.
Yeah. But you know what? One of the things Ralph Thorne is saying that the government needs to talk to the people. It's important for government to speak to the people of Barbados, and I think that it's so this is so important, because a lot of people need to understand. I mean, what is Prime Minister saying about these ID cards? We read from the article the other night where on her last show, where she's saying that, oh well, you don't have to pin it. It's just that the difference is going to be in services that you receive. We need the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister. If you are listening, we need you to tell us what do you mean when you say services. Let me try to find that again, because that's the thing. When you are ambiguous, and this is why Ralph Thorne, listen to Ralph Thorne, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Speak clearly to the people. We want to hear what is it you're saying to us, okay? Because when you don't speak clearly to us, we don't understand. We need to understand exactly what it is that you're saying, because you would have heard me, Caswell and Dr. Ferdinand, where I when I read from the article that was put out in, I think it was in September, and I'm looking for it now. PM says new deadline for Trident ID to be pushed to 2024, but pinned cards will be needed. She says pinned cards will be needed. Read my lips, it's here. Janique Belgrave in Barbados today, unless did they lie on the Prime Minister? She said pinned cards will be needed. Why would they be needed if they're not mandatory? It has to be mandatory. You say it's going to be needed, right? She says Barbados can use their old ID cards for a while longer, until the end of January next year, with a third extension to the deadline for acquiring their new Trident ID cards. Senior citizens will also have that extra time to get their new ID cards pinned to ride on the transport buses for free. So that's part of the
in
service.
other words,
Yeah.
in other words, Marcia, what she's saying is that she is making it compulsory against your own desire, your own
Exactly.
wish. That's what you're saying. You're saying that the citizens of the country have no choice. If you want to ride on the bus, you're going to have to pin the card. If
Hey,
you
that's
want to
what she
access
says
your
here.
national
But listen
insurance,
to the double
yeah.
speak. Listen to
Yes.
the double speak. Barbados, listen, we are not on here pushing propaganda. We are here. We want to understand. We're not being reckless. It's not about us being reckless. It's about us, about there being understanding, asking for clarity. That's the least we can ask our government officials that's putting something, Mr. Franklin, that we don't know anything about. Okay? She said, the article says, Janique Belgrave is writing this unless she's lying on the Prime Minister. Says, senior citizens, I'll read it again, will also have that extra time to get their new Trident ID cards pinned to ride on the transport buses for free. Remember the title of the article said, pinned cards will be needed. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement on Tuesday as she urged residents who have not made the switch to Trident IDs to do so and pin their new cards, noting that the NIS could be the next state agency to utilize the pin and chip technology. Why would the NIS be the next state agency? Why is she mentioning that? Don't you get money from the NIS, Caswell?
Yes, you do. Yes, you
get?
do.
So that means, so those who are thinking that there's a propaganda, listen and read. We gone to school, We went to school. So if the NIS is going to the next agency to utilize the pin and chip, and when we use pin and chip, don't forget money from the bank. Pin and chip, huh? So that means
not to talk about the QR code, Marcia.
Exactly,
it's
which
an
would be
additional, yeah.
It is understood that is money. So this is connected to your bank account. And this is how you're going to be able to get services from the government, because you can the little senior citizens cannot ride for free without the PIN cards. And she said the next agency will be NIS. So you're not getting no pensions and you're not getting no NIS payments and no nothing. Listen carefully to what she's saying. But listen now, this is where the double speak comes in. Listen carefully, all of you that are listening. There are some people, our Prime Minister says, who want to pin, and there are some who do not want to pin. That's fine, because I don't want to pin. So she says we give the people the option, but we also give them a range of services.
Marcia, let me. Can I read something, please, for us in Barbados to understand, if I can, because you mentioned something about, and I'm almost tempted to say conspiracy. Where people are propaganda. People are thinking that we are raising these issues maliciously, if I can put it that way. That the Prime Minister means well, and that these questions that we're asking are malicious and being asked with intent. Can I read something to you from a website called Access Now? And it says this: an open letter to the leaders of international development banks, the United Nations, international aid organizations, funding agencies, and national governments. We are a group of civil society organizations, listen, technologists and experts who work on digital identity development across the world. We urge you to consider the impact that ill-considered, badly designed, and poorly implemented digital identity programs can have on human lives and follow our recommendations to protect human rights. We urge that some basic questions on the objectives, needs, and benefits of these digital ID programs must be answered before pursuing the what, the how, and the when, and the who of digital identity. We wish to raise our voice and ask this very first basic question: why ID? That's not us. Those are international agencies, civic organizations, technological experts, digital experts saying to the World Bank, stick a pin with an ID that has not been globally tested, it has not been properly secured. It is not Marcia Weeks, Caswell Franklin, Ferdinand Nichols, Kemar Stewart creating malicious activity in Barbados. This is global, Marcia, and everybody across the world who is an expert is saying stick a pin on this matter. Why are you pushing it to January the 31st?
Correct. And just thank you for that interjection there, Dr. Nichols. But let me just continue reading from this article, and I'm saying to our Prime Minister that if or those who are listening to her, if there's anything in this article that it does not represent her, that to ask her to clarify it. We, as Rob Thorne is saying, speak to the people. And don't speak in double
yeah, and in disingenuous manners.
Speak clearly. We're intelligent people. Speak clearly. So she says that they will have a range of services, and I'm going to ask Mr. Franklin to tell me what he understands from that, and those of you are listening. But let me read a little further.
Sorry to interrupt you, Marcia, but just to let you know that you're still going live on Instagram.
Oh, we're still live on Instagram. Okay, all right. Okay, well, great. The article says it just so happens that the Transport Board is the first service that is rolling out. Rolling out what? When you say rolling out, so listen to those things, Barbadians. Listen, that is rolling out. So that means, remember what I read earlier, without the PIN cards, those senior citizens could not ride on the bus. So let's follow, okay? And the Transport Board is the first service that is rolling out. Okay. I fully anticipate that the NIS will be one of the next ones that will have to roll out in the next few months, so that payments can be made to pensioners without people having to rely on checks. Now, what you need to understand, and we're getting this, some people who work in that system, they have told us that a lot of these pensioners are already getting their money transferred directly to the bank, to their bank account. So what are you mentioning these cards for? And so those of you who said, oh, it has nothing to do with your bank account. So how payments are going to be made to the pensioners, right?
Marcia?
Yes.
What is also worthy of note is that there are lots of pensioners who are not technologically savvy. They don't know anything about pins. They don't know anything about cards. They ain't got any. And they like to, and mind you, they like to go to the post office and go for their pension checks and spend a little time talking to their friends that they didn't see since last month. You know, it is really an outing, because some of them are lonely, home lonely, you know, and they don't have any access to vehicles that they can drive down, going to the bus stand, somebody can push them down. I think so. They make one little trip to the post office and the district post offices, and they'll wait for their friends in line to talk together and to talk with their grandchildren, all kind of stuff. It is socialization also with these old people, some of whom do not know anything about these cards, don't want to know anything about them. And then again, sometimes you're getting forgetful and you're not supposed to write down the PIN number, but if they don't write it down, they remember next week. Then remember after they put it in the first time. So it's going to, what she is trying to do is change the culture of this country to meet the demands of the people that give her instructions.
That is correct.
And we have to resist this. We didn't elect a king. We elected a government to govern this place for us in our best interest. Almost everything that she has done is to satisfy some international agency. This nonsense has to stop. None of those people in the national agencies voted for her or any of her members. None. We are the people that she must listen to. But she has so little respect for the people of Barbados that she will come and do these things without telling you, and then come when one of her visits to Barbados, because she doesn't live here. When on her visits to Barbados, she go and hold a press conference, or what they call them, these press things, and then insult people's intelligence. She is too disrespectful of the people of Barbados. And I'm telling you now, a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people who voted for her. A lot of people who voted in protest about the last administration. They are saying no to me when they beat me in the market. That the Dems are bad, but these people are far worse. And I agree with them. I absolutely agree with them. The problem with the last prime minister is that he didn't do a lot of talking. He acted, but he didn't talk. This one, talking, unless somebody else do the acting for her, she is taking instructions from everybody else. This country is no longer ours. You know, Barrow said on these days we will get up and we wouldn't own this country. Well, Mr. Barrow, your prediction has come true. We don't even manage our own affairs. We are 57 years independent. Then we had to take directions from England. Now we become a republic. A republic is a self-governing state. But this republic now is more dependent on people outside of Barbados to help them to govern than when we were a colony. Because we had ministerial government, internal self-government before we had independence. And the only thing that Britain was responsible for was defense. And now we have this government. Everybody in this government is taking instructions from outsiders. We are no longer independent. This republic doesn't mean anything. If you cannot govern yourselves, you're not really a true republic, other than a banana republic. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
She rushed into this Republican status. She rushed into everything, and now it's burning her hands, and we need to let her drop it. Get it out of her hand before she finally destroys this country.
You know, Mr. Franklin, as you're speaking there, I'm remembering when the same minister and who said to us, the minister that's over the technology, and I can't remember his name right now. Is that
Davidson Ishmael?
Davidson Ishmael. Thank you, Ishmael. When he had said originally that it is not mandatory. Do you remember? There's just so much confusion around these ID cards. And this is why Ralph Thorne is saying, listen, man, talk to the people straight. Talk straight to the people of Barbados. Because you come out and you tell us that it's not mandatory. But now you're giving us a deadline by which we have to get these ID cards. So what are you telling us? And you're telling you're saying that, you know what, the senior citizens, they can ride on the bus without the pinning the ID card. So for them it is mandatory. You're now saying that the NIS now will require people to pin the cards. That's the next agency, the next government agency that will have to state-run enterprise that will now have to pin their cards because the pensioners will need it. You start on the old people. Take a set on them again, right? And so we are confused, Madam Prime Minister. We're kindly asking you to be clear, talk straight to the people of Barbados. Let there be no confusion. And for those of you who are thinking that, oh, they don't even understand that if you pin it, we understand that. What we're saying is that the ID that when you go and you get your ID, Caswell, can you show them your ID, the old one that they don't want anymore? Okay, that ID is not pinned to anything, and there's a portion of the Trident ID that is not pinned. There's a portion that is not pinned. Okay, you can go and you can get a regular ID that just identifies you. That's it. That's it. Without pinning it, the Prime Minister needs to sit down along with the minister, although she seems to speak on behalf of all the ministers. But somebody needs to sit down and explain to Barbadians what is the difference between pinning and not pinning. Okay,
Marcia.
and to tell us one last thing, when did we have a say? When did we have a say in this whole thing about digital ID? When were we consulted? Why is it that America, United States of America, does not have digital ID? Why they don't have it? The UK don't have it. We are the first in the Caribbean to have it. And an expert, a cyber expert, told me, Mr. Franklin, that Barbados, the Trident ID, when pinned, would be in the top 5 in the world, right after China. After China, America is not there and UK is not there. What do they want with this 280,000 people? Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
Marcia, I talk about this after China thing, and I finish here. The ID has always been intended by this government to be mandatory. Always. However, when the governor of Jamaica tried to introduce it,
yes,
somebody put them in court. And the Jamaica court ruled
that's right,
that it was unconstitutional. So our lawyers, government, backpedal and say, oh, it is not mandatory. That is when we first heard that it is mandatory, because the laws in Jamaica and Barbados were something similar in this regard. So if it was, most likely if it was unconstitutional, because our constitutions then, both of them came from England, and we just took one constitution and scratch off Jamaica and put Barbados and stuff ready. So the constitutions were almost identical. And they were saying, and Jamaica said it was unconstitutional. 9 chances out of 10, if it were unconstitutional in Jamaica, it would have been unconstitutional here.
Barbados.
So they came and tried to pacify each other. They said, well, look, no. It is not mandatory, so we can still do it. But if it were mandatory, then it would be unconstitutional. This is the reasoning. That was the reasoning of this government, to lie to these people. They have been lying to the people from even before day one, because they lied in the campaign. They were lying to us. And now back to this China thing. Why would this government always take the lead from the worst of the worst? You remember we had a good, strong relationship with Suriname under Botase. Botase is a murderer. As a matter of fact, his 20 years conviction, 20 years, has just been upheld by the highest court in Suriname. He's a murderer, but she play into that. She with them hands. Now the guy from what's it called? Better kill all those Tutsis and stuff. Rwanda. He too, and she up in him. So she likes bad people. That's what she likes to associate with. That's why she doesn't like me. I'm not a bad person. She wherever she goes around the world, she finds herself associated with people of ill repute. I said before, it's her bad luck. She just don't have any luck. When we get in business with people, they turn out to be crooks. It isn't a question of birds of a feather. It's just that she doesn't have any luck. You know?
Mr. Franklin, just so that everybody understands something, Marcy, it just struck me as I was looking at the screen. We are wearing red because it's Christmas, not because we support the Barbados Labour Party. All
or
right,
any other party.
or
Let's
any
be
other
clear.
party. I
Let's
worn
be clear.
yellow.
Yeah,
I,
because
I
the
yeah,
D's are telling me that I'm trying to I'm hurting their party. Listen,
yeah.
and on that note, as we mentioned, D's, I want to hear the voice of Ronnie Yearwood. Ronnie was carrying the voice of this digital ID. Dr. Ronnie Yearwood, the president of the DLP, was one of the main voices telling people not to pin, not to, first he was saying don't even collect the IDs. So I want to know, where is he now? Dr. Ronnie Yearwood, if you're listening to me, the people need you. The people need you. The people need your voice, please. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Franklin. I'm sorry.
You know, the last time I said anything about the Democratic Labour Party, when it was associated with you, they banned me. You know, because I said it seems as though everybody in Barbados is fighting for me money, even the Dems. And it seems, and they have good reason to say so, because there are too many things happening in this country that the main opposition in this country, even though they don't have any seats, but they're aspiring to be the government of Barbados, and they're not speaking out on the issues. They're not speaking out saying to people, look, this is wrong. They're speaking about things that I'm not saying that are not important, because they were talking about fixing the schools and that kind of stuff. That is important too. But get to the other issues. Get to the economic issues. Get to the issues with this ID card. You know?
Caswell, and Marcy's slipped off there. I hope she hasn't lost her connection. But a paper that was released by the World Economic Forum Insight Report, dated July the 4th, 2023 article, it indicated that the concept of digital IDs pose significant risks, the most serious of which potentially being exclusion, marginalization, and oppression. This is from an insight report from the World Economic Forum. This is not from the Marcia Week show. The report assesses the considerable potential benefits of digital ID, and particularly decentralized digital ID, which can help to foster greater social inclusion and enhance privacy protections. But there are risks outlined in the report, many of which will be familiar to the critics of the digital IT program. The World Economic Forum notes that by making access a conditional, are you hearing these words? By making access conditional, that in truth and in fact, what is happening is, and this is an idea of any kind, is by its nature exclusionary. Marcy, you were just outlining a variation of benefits. So what you're saying is, if people pin, they're okay, but if you don't pin, you're going to be excluded from certain, and this is exactly the warning that the World Economic Forum themselves raised in an insight report that they released.
But Freddie, the Prime Minister must, for a change, be honest and say, what are the services you will not be able to get if you don't pin the card? This is what she must say. She just can't come and say there are certain services. I don't want those services.
Ambiguity
that's what I'm saying. She has to come out and be honest. And I see the thing is, honesty doesn't mean that you're going to tell half the truth. You're going to tell all the truth. Because people say, I'm not lying. But when you tell only half the truth, because you could well be lying. She comes and says, you can get some of these services. What are some of these services? Because I might not want to drive on the bus, mind you. So I might have to, I don't want to pay the card then because I don't want to drive on the bus. So what are the services that I will not get? She should tell us. As a matter of fact, it should be in the legislation, and if the or the regulations to the legislation, not at the Prime Minister's whim and fancy. She did that during COVID, where she got up and she ruled like a feudal king. But no, that emergency is over. So she should come back now to the normal way of doing things and publishing regulations for the entire country to see. But no, she's so used to having absolute power in Barbados, or almost absolute power, that she don't want to give it up. And only what she wants to tell you, you will hear. That's not how democracy works.
No, and this is what we're saying. This is not about pushing any kind of propaganda. I believe we are the same thing Ralph Thorne is asking for in Parliament. Aren't we happy that he could speak up in Parliament? Is what we're asking for. And that needs to be clear to those of you who are listening who love to go away and say that, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I just read the article and we are asking the Prime Minister to clarify. If this person is saying, because it's reported speech and the person, and you see what she said in quotation, if she's telling a lie on you, then what you need to do is to, if you didn't say it, they need to retract it. But you know, someone here I'm seeing in the chat says that the minister said that with this new digital ID, consumers will be required to present only one ID. They said they went to cash a check to their first citizens, and they insisted on another picture ID in addition to their digital national ID. Okay, because there's another craziness there is that this government really needs to try to get things right. So even
Correct.
in what they're saying that they want to do, it's not even set up properly. It's nonsense. And we are to believe that they can protect our data. These people here, these same people. Listen, they said they went, well, 1 second, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Cash a check today at First Citizens, and they insisted on another picture ID in addition to my digital national ID. I presented my Barbados driver's license with photo, birth date, and signature, and the teller still wanted to see, in addition, the piece of paper issued by the licensing authority to prove that I have renewed my driver's license. This is the point we're making. What this little country, we are not ready. We can't even get anything organized properly. Okay, much more people's data.
But Marcia, the driver's license carries the date of issue and the date of expiration. Mine will expire on the 31st of August 2025. It's right on the driver's ID, on the driver's license. So if you are issuing Barbados ID documents, such as the card, this one, and an ID card, and people are still asking for additional documentation, what does that tell us about the ID card?
Yeah, because this is someone who's just put that they had that experience in today. They had that experience today some. They said today some or something like that. Right, that they had that experience, and we are to trust this in a government with our data. What are they doing? What are they doing? If the UK and the US, they can't bring that nonsense. I was talking to my cousin from the UK last night, and he's like, no, that can't happen. They're gonna bring that. They're gonna be riots in the UK. You can't come in and begin to force people like that. But you think you can force people, and because you are running up and down with the president of Rwanda, who the whole of Africa calls a dictator. Okay? Yes. The whole of Africa, when you talk to the people in Ghana and Nigeria, they consider him a dictator. Yes, it's nice. Everything is nice and clean. I've been to Rwanda, but it looks the amount of soldiers and police on the road to keep the order inside there. It's that kind of state that she wants here, and that's who she's on a jet with, right? That's who they are. That's who she's all about with. And you know, can't stay in Barbados today. I wonder, you know, if there are ants in her bed or something. Why she can't stay in Barbados? She have ants in her bed, you know, ants in her clothes, ants in Barbados. Why she can't stay here? She's off in Rwanda and up there because you know what? They're ready to bring that digital thing here by January 31st. So she's up there what, getting schooling from Kagami? Is that what is happening? Oh my goodness! I see Kimar is in, and Kimar, good evening. Can you
Good
hear us?
evening, Kimar. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My favorite people in the world.
Well, thank you, and you're our favorite gentleman as well. And
Yeah,
what
I
a
can
pleasure
assure
and
you.
honor to be with you tonight as well.
yeah. I see you on Marcy and matching clothes tonight. You're looking very lovely. I don't know if you planned this
On
one.
uncoordinated, I would have to say, from my position, spirit led.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Listen, this is all having to do with Christmas. We're not supporting any party.
No, no,
And
no,
I'm
no, no.
calling out the president of your party, the Dr. Ronnie Yearwood. I want to hear him on the radio. I want to see him because listen, this matters to a lot of Barbadians, huh? And
Yes, it does.
we want to thank Dr. Ronnie Yearwood for bringing this as an issue. Because
Yes.
when I wasn't out there by myself. I was a little lone person. I heard his voice on the radio. I saw his articles in the newspaper, etc. So we want to continue to hear Dr. Ronnie Yearwood. Dr. Ronnie Yearwood, we will back you up. Don't hide away from this one, please. Come out and we will support you. We will go support you. See, we're supporting Ram Thorne. Huh? We will support you. But if you stay in the corner, you don't come out and speak out on behalf of the people, how are we going to vote for DLP? Huh? Don't let me start on DLP this evening because you're all going to say that I'm pushing the party down in the ground. No, but you all are pushing the party out in the ground. You should be out in front on this thing again.
Marcia,
I think I'm talking tonight. Go ahead,
look, I
No,
can
I
tell
can
you,
feel
see,
the passion. I feel the passion.
let me tell you
The
something, see.
passion.
I will not vote for anybody led by Mayor Motley. If my brother was running and he was running being led by Mayor Motley, I will not vote for them. She has proven to be unworthy of the trust that the people of this country put in her. And I certainly will not, and I can say again, will not vote for anybody who supports her. As simple as that. If then the only option is to vote for the Dems, then so be it. But I will not vote for any candidate who runs in the Barbados Labour Party led by Mayor Motley. I never thought in my lifetime that I would have been saying that because, I was around the Barbados Labour Party from the time I was at school.
That makes two of us, Caswell.
So I never thought I'd
share
be
your
saying this.
sentiments.
And I was in the Barbados Labour Party long before Mayor, when she was in school and when she was a Dem. I was in the Barbados Labour Party. And I have a lot of people still call me friend in the Barbados Labour Party. And even my friends, if they run, I will not vote for them if they say that they will allow Mayor Motley to lead them into anything again. Mayor Motley cannot lead me across the street if I could not see.
Listen, Caswell, why? Oh Lord, help me, Caswell. Lord, help me today. I need serious as a judge, Himar, what are your thoughts about this? Because there's some people who believe that we're pushing a lot of propaganda and being reckless and so on. What are your thoughts? Are you clear? You believe that Minister Ishmael and the Prime Minister have been clear to the Barbados people, to Barbadians, and as Rob Thorne is saying, talking straight to the people of Barbados. Do you think that they have been, Kimar?
Well, I wouldn't count not too hard on Ishmael because Ishmael is like an underling in terms of just repeating what has been given to him on paper. So I won't knock him from that perspective. As it relates to the Prime Minister, no. I had to kind of change her name, right? I don't know if you heard about if you ever heard of MASSY, that plays football, the greatest in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I had to change hers to Lionel Motley, right? But not Lionel as in Lionel, Lienel Motley. So I won't believe anything she has to say, right? Because She too, from my understanding, operates as though she's being handed papers and say, well, me and Motley read that, but has no real understanding as to what she's handing down to the people of Barbados, right? And some of the ideas that I see her out there purporting, I based off how she speaks and how her entire politics was, she seems more conscious than that, right? So it confuses me sometimes as to why would a woman who purports to be so liberal in her thinking, so conscious in her thinking, was subscribed to certain ideologies, but then I understand it isn't really about principle or philosophy. Right? It's just more about the money, dollar signs. So if you want to poison off the water and use sewage water and jobby water to replenish the aquifers, she would do it, right? Because there's money involved. If it takes selling out the entire country, selling out all of Bridgetown, selling out Kensington Oval, because remember we were the first persons on this show. We were the first persons on this show to show the people that they were going to sell out Kensington, you know. And
You're
they
right,
didn't believe
Kimar.
us.
And so
Kimar,
said,
you
and so
actually,
said, so
Kimar,
done.
yeah, Kimar came on here, and first of all, he had to prove it to me before he came on. Remember Kimar? I held him to that. I said, show me my brother. And I, I was still gentle with him, but I wasn't coming on here with that. He knew it, and he had to go through the whole thing before and explain it to me before he came on here. But this young man is who told us about Kensington. It is true. It is true. Go ahead, Kimar.
Yeah. So don't mind to talk about selling up the naming rights. You can't just sell a name without capacity. So they're selling the whole thing because they intend to build a hotel on the opposite side of the road, which is what you call central purchasing, right? That's government property. So they're selling out central purchasing and that entire building to build a hotel, right? So they are selling or marketing the hotel that you have Kensington right next door, and you know you can get the opportunity to decorate this and decorate. I want to get the picture and show you once more. I'll show you the entire plan that the government has to sell Kensington, and I'm going to show you exactly what they have the planning permissions for, right? Because they know that they intend to sell it. Remember, Kensington was built under the Barbados Labour Party, or in Africa, right? Which means that Lionel Motley was in the cabinet at the time. And Lionel Motley knew exactly what was happening, right? In terms of the Kensington Oval, the loans that we had to borrow to build Kensington Oval, right? I'm not even sure the government owns Kensington. Have we repaid the loans that we borrowed to build Kensington, but still be selling it out right now to right? Sorry, right? So we don't even know if we own Kensington. I don't think we've repaid completely all of the loans that we borrowed to build Kensington in the first place, right? Because remember, Kensington actually went over budget. Kensington had some of the highest levels of cost overruns on any project that the Barbados Labour Party built during ONAFA's time, right? So now they are selling Kensington in a package with central purchasing because they intend to build a marina right there where the harbor master used to dock. Marcel, don't know if you ever went on any harbor master cruises where you had to drive in there, and right there by Atlantis Green.
Yep.
Right? Because they intend to borrow at least another $200 million to do expansions on the Bridgetown port through the African Exim Bank, right? So I think they said that the African Exim Bank is going to lend them the money to do the Kensington upgrades, right? They said.
Yes.
They conveniently left out the fact that the African Exim Bank is lending money to the Bridgetown port. Tell them deny me that one, no, because I was there at the launch of the African Exim Bank. Me and Robin Adams. I have the pictures to prove it. I actually sat next to Kevin Greenwich in the room, right? I was there. So they said it on the screen at the launch of the African Exim Bank that the government is borrowing $200 million to do upgrades to the Bridgestone port. So what connection does the expansion of the Bridgestone port and that $200 million from the African Exim Bank has to do with Kensington? So you're seeing it clearly. So it is clear that the African Exim Bank has more stake in Barbados as it relates to buying up Kensington, as it relates to buying up central purchasing, as it relates to rebuilding the Bridgestone port and expanding it further out. So we need to investigate it because something is up the line. And Lionel Motley will never come and tell the people in this country the truth about it. But I will tell them, me and Caswell and Marcia and Pastor Ferdinand and the entire Rosé Parliament. I went in Bridgestone today, right? And when I got there, one of my people saw me and said, "Boy, the government ain't doing anything to you yet." I said, "But me? why would the government want to do me anything?" He said, "Man, the pressure you always be turning on that show. I surprised. I surprised they try to buy y'all off or try to get one of the criminals to run y'all down and do y'all anything because the things y'all saying on this show is serious, man." I said, "Well, boy, if you shut down one channel, we're going to open up another. And if you do us anything, the Lord is going to send 20 more of us. So it's better for you to deal with us. Because we harsh, but we ain't that harsh. But if you do us anything, we got 1,000 more people in the back, you know."
Yes.
You better believe it, my friend. And I can tell it, Marcia, I can tell him, I can guarantee him now. We only got 1,000 more people. Remember what Elijah said to Gehazi when they had the army come to arrest him? He said, "Go outside, boy, and look, open your eyes. Here we got some fellas in the hills that them can't see." So
Yes.
Kimar, tell them, don't mess with me. Tell them, do not mess with Marcia.
Tell them, listen, I love
don't.
it tonight, man. This is hot tonight. I feel energized. Let me tell you something. That's why we're marching, Mr. Franklin. I call it general, you know. I was in the supermarket doing my Christmas shopping here, buying up my food yesterday for my festivals and things, my Jamaican festivals. Dave was in the line. I said, "Dave, you hold this line." I was outside with my phone organizing this march, calling the general. I said, "General, what date? What date and time?" General said, second week in January, second Saturday, we going out there. But if them think we're done, we just come. Listen, we get stopped from YouTube, from my Africa Bridge TV channel. Guess what happened today? We gone live on Instagram. We on Instagram
live. And still live.
We're still live.
You said an hour, but I am still watching it on Instagram.
We still, Kimar, you on Instagram? We still on Instagram?
Yeah, Kimar on.
Listen to me. I tell them, the worst thing you can do, they will not be able to touch us. And then you could report all you want. You could report all you want. I tell you this, go ahead. You little yard fowls. Little yard fowl, little yard fowl, them running up and down barefoot all about the place. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and report all that you want. We will stand up on the roadside and shout out loud.
But Marcia, all they have to do to shut us up is to produce the evidence that what we're saying isn't true.
Exactly. And
that's all you have to do. That's all we're asking for. We're asking for transparency and accountability.
And accountability. And that's what we're going to do on Saturday,
for me,
January 13th.
All they have to do is do the right thing.
I know what he's going to say.
If they were doing the right thing, I wouldn't be here every night talking. But they are doing so much things that we could talk for 6 months, 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, and we ain't around the stuff. It just shows you how much bad things they are doing. Just let that sink in. We were here marching out for 6 months, 4 nights a week. And we have not been out here talking about the same issue ever so often. We started with the national insurance, remember, and the pensions. We ain't talked about that now for a long, long time because we got so many other stuff. It's hard to get back to that. Because this government has proven to be the most untrustworthy government in the history of Barbados since the abolition of slavery. You know, they are worse than any other administration we ever had.
And you know,
And
Kazo,
unfortunately, go ahead, Freddie.
no, I'm just looking. You all don't have any idea the number of tabs I have open in front of me. I'm looking at a tab to do with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation pushing the digital ID as an effective tool against poverty. I believe that they are behind this. I don't care what anybody bring the proof and prove me wrong. Bring it and prove me wrong, because they were behind it for India, and India is now using it to marginalize their people in India. So tell them, bring the evidence.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so guys, we're going to be marching, right? So we are marching on the 13th. The 13th. There's some people who you know, you might not like to march, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm glad that Martin Luther King loved to march. I'm glad that he marched. I really am glad that he marched, and that, you know what? And I'm glad that Rosa Parks decided to publicly defy the laws at that time. She could have just stayed in her house, and she could have decided in her
Yes,
house, right?
yes.
She could decide in her house that, you know what, I am not going to be going out, and I'm not going to do, you know, I in my heart I just don't believe it's right. But she went out and she sat on the bus and
One
decided
woman,
she was not one woman. She was not going to get
one
up,
woman.
right? And so on Saturday, you might decide to write an article. You might decide to use your Instagram page or your Facebook page, or you might decide to send out a WhatsApp. But the point is that do something. Ask the questions of what it is that you need to ask. What is it that you need to ask the government? Ask the questions. Ask the right questions. And we, as Rob Thorne is saying, talk straight to the people. Don't talk out of two sides of your mouth where we don't understand what you are saying. We want you to
And
talk
don't
straight.
and don't talk to us in a Barbados Labour Party constituency branch meeting. Talk
Or
to us
don't
as the people of Barbados, and you are the Prime Minister as our servant. Don't speak to us in a disingenuous tone, and don't speak to us from a perspective of suggesting we are treasonous, because we are asking questions and exposing the truth.
Yeah. You know, go ahead,
don't talk
Chancellor.
down to us, because
Correct. Exactly.
you know, even the press, when she is speaking to them, she tries to insult them, make them look stupid. It is, you know, and it is hard to watch anything that she does or anything, because I won't be able to get up and say something. I couldn't be a journalist and take that abuse from her. But again, our journalists are afraid, because the market is small, and she has not only captured the unions, she has captured most of the media. So if you don't do as she says, you'll be looking for a job in the media. And that's the problem. But I ain't looking for no job. What about you, Freddie? You want one?
No, not in
Oh,
that.
God.
Not in that. I not at all. As a matter of fact, I am going to be running in this election as an independent candidate, and I am going to be reversing every single policy that they have implemented. That is going to be my campaign.
Well, Caswell,
Yeah.
I should tell you, now you're going on this thing about job, all right? The Barbados Labour Party thought I was in so much need for a job, right? That a minister of this country, I say this with anger, no, it got me so angry when he did it, right? A minister of this country saw me and approached me, right? And he was like, "Hi, Kimar, how you doing?" I was like, "No, good, yeah, uh, what's going on? If you know, are you working or anything?" No. Well, you need a job. I was like, "Yeah." I got a job for you, man. I got a job for you. I said, "What job is that, buddy?" Um, Man, you know, as the minister this and as the minister that, you know, I could get you a job at Transport Authority. I said, "Me? What made me so special that you will want to give me a job, that you will look past all your constituents to come and give me a job? I don't understand. He said, man, you know, I looking out for you, I looking out for you. I said, but you saying all of this, you know, but you're telling me what the job is? He said, man. I said, what happened to you? You can't get up the words. Man, I would offer you a job as a at transport authority, you know, as a general worker. I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, but what general workers do? Man, you know, you would just handle the buses and stuff like that after they finish working, you know, and he's the perfect man for the job. I was like, me? You sure me? Are you sure that I'm the perfect man for the job? I said, but you got 1,000 hungry constituents, you know, they want the job. He said, oh my God, so you don't want any work from me. You don't want anything from me. You don't want anything from me. Man, you ungrateful, man. You're an ungrateful man. Man chastise me for not wanting to wash no buses.
That's the insult and disingenuous attitude and arrogance that they possess. That they would look at a young man like you with the brilliance and intellectual integrity and common sense and research and offer you that kind of a position.
But
That
I
is
had to
an
tell him,
insult.
buddy, you know that I ain't an arrogant fella, right? But I don't go down this line regular, but you know that I'm more like, if you look at me compared to you on paper, man, if you start to list my qualifications, buddy, you can't even match it. So I don't understand why you coming to talk to me the time, but look, if you got hungry people in your constituency, give them the job. I good, thank you. I think you match a whole you match a whole tizzy on me, man. But that was very insulting to me though.
It is very insulting.
You know, they don't understand that.
Very insulting.
They don't understand that. Look, when I was first in the Senate, I am very proud, you know, I'm very proud that Bishop Hatherley would look past everybody else in Barbados and say to me that when the Governor General said to him that he has to be the leader of opposition and he has to name 2 opposition senators, he said the first name he thought about was me. I thought that was an honor because I can assure you that the only body that you should first thing to think about is with my mother. You know what I mean? So when he said that, I felt good. I felt proud, and I wanted to make sure that I would do right by him and make sure that he doesn't feel embarrassed by anything that I have done, you know, having put that confidence in me. Then we had a meeting of the entire Parliament, both House and the Senate meeting together to get instructions, or not rather, but a briefing from the National Security Council. And I am sitting there, and of course, I don't go to any forum where I have to sit down and listen to people talk. I don't like it. I remember, that's probably why I don't go to church too often, because preachers are preaching, they can't get up on a point of order. And so I interjected and I said, well, the Prime Minister, tell me something. Customs is the oldest law enforcement agency in Barbados. And we are talking about national security. Why are there no representative on customs? We got defense force, we got police, we got defense and security, but no customs. The customs department is older than the police department. And she then said, yeah, you represent customs officers? At that point, I had 85. I said, yes, 85. And she then switched the thing to, but we were thinking about making the chairman of the Public Service Commission a full-time job, and you'll be the best man for the job. Now, let me explain to you what the chairman of the Public Service Commission would be. He is the man that the permanent secretaries and everybody from permanent secretary down has to report to, So that means I will be senior to all the permanent secretaries in Barbados, all. And she said, but you'll be the best man for the job. I said, Prime Minister, while I agree with you that I will be the best man for that job, if I took it, there wouldn't be any good trade unionists left, you would go all. So I can't, you know, and she got offended by it because that is, they want to buy you off. You know, they want to silence you. So they came back 3 times since then and offered me jobs. And I'm still out here, still standing and making sure that nobody will silence me, because if I had taken the job as chairman of the Public Service Commission, I can go on the radio and talk about things that are happening, you know, because that would be inappropriate. You see? So my but I'll tell you a story. You know, my mother died just last year, December. But I would used to go to her house every evening after work. I would drop my wife home and I would go to see my mother. And I told my mother about it. She was 89 years old at the time. And she said, when I said to her, when I told her what happened, because I used to discuss everything that happened to me, you know, let you know what happened to her little boy. Because she's always think of me as a little boy. And I told her about it, and she said, Kaz, you know, if you take that job, you could come back here, you know. My mother was going to put me out of her house if I taken that job, so lucky I didn't take it. She said,
Yeah.
she said she was only trying to silence you. She said, and I raised you like that. And I jumped. You know why I jumped? Because my mother was a Barbados. They were party supporter from the time I knew her. My mother canvassed with the Barbados. Their party has never voted for anybody else. But how dare she try to bribe me? My mother wouldn't stand for it. You see, and that is the type of integrity that we are sadly lacking in Barbados. Because my mother didn't have any ill will against the Barbados Labour Party. But
she just believed in integrity.
You know, and that is why I said, look, we need more people. And my mother never set foot in the secondary school. And she worked, the only job she ever had in her entire life was working as a laborer at Vaucluse Plantation. You know?
Yeah,
but you hear the integrity coming out. She says, if I had taken that job, I couldn't come back at her house.
Correct. That's serious. That's serious.
You know?
Well, we have Miss I always say Mrs. Why do I always put in Mrs. on her?
I am not going
you
there.
have plans
I
for
am
Maxine.
not going there. I'm not going
we have
there,
Miss
boy.
McLean here, and you know, Miss McLean is really wanting to talk about the economy and what's happening in Barbados at this time. You know, and we've seen the reports of, you know, the young people robbing, and not even young people, just people robbing people, you know, and just a hardship. We went to the supermarket today. I have to tell you this, Miss McLean and others, and I was picking up something, and I was between two minds, you know, and counting, right, as I was picking up, and as I put it down, and I walked away, Kimar, I saw this woman, and she stood there, and she was just looking in space, and just looking out. And I said to her, what are you thinking about? You know? And she said, Mom, I'm here, you know, thinking about my money, what to buy and what I can't buy.
That's right.
And that's the general feel today in that supermarket. Because we don't see any energy. There's not much happening. I know last minute they did the tax returns. People were getting their tax returns and so on, and supposedly to probably generate the economy and so on, spending and so on. But what are your thoughts about what you're seeing in the economy, Miss McLean? And I know Kimar will jump in at some time, but I would like for her to talk about what's on your mind. Good to see you.
Right, thanks, and good evening, everybody. I've been
Good
listening.
evening. Lovely. You look
most of the
absolutely
evening.
ravishing.
I saw Marcia, so I had to say
Absolutely ravishing. I love the blue and all
I
of
had
the
to,
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
I had to do something. This is something that I would have picked up in the market in Ghana, Marcia.
I thought
Oh,
so.
wow.
I didn't want to say
wow.
anything.
Oh,
I said
wow.
that looked like something from in Ghana, but I don't. I said let me not pass my place.
But the other things here were made by a student of mine many years ago, and I just happened to look at how you were, and I said, well, I cannot be outdone by Marcia. It's Christmas after all, and it's something that you know And the color blue, and this has nothing to do with politics. It tends to lift me up. Um, you know, I tell people I'm a Tauran, and so red has never been, even though it's Christmas. In all seriousness, blue tends to make me look young, and at my age, I need to do that. But
Yes,
Marcy, I am
we believe you. We
smiling.
believe you.
I am smiling because as I listen, I started to do some serious introspection because, like Caswell, I lost a relative. I lost a nephew who was just about 40 years old, or just about that earlier this year, and for me that was last Christmas. We recognized that was probably our last Christmas with him. But as I thought of him as a young man, he would have achieved a number of things he wanted in life. But as I go around Barbados, I am worried. Up to this morning, you asked what are my thoughts. There is a young man who obviously is homeless, and he sits on one of the street just before when you turn to go up to the Mutual building, where that chef at the corner right there. I'm not sure what that building is called, but it is part of that complex. And he's there. He doesn't look ill, mentally disturbed or anything, but it just strikes me at here is a young man who is at least physically looking fine and so on. For whatever reason, he is homeless. He sits there with about 3 bags, and that is just illustrative of the problem I think that we are facing in Barbados, that we are not necessarily, you hear comments about the homeless, etc., but there's a level of despondency, let me use that word, among a significant percentage of our population.
Sorry, Ms. McLean, Caswell, if Ms. McLean, you need to send the students.
Not to be outdone.
Wait.
Not to be outdone.
What is going on?
Kimar, you and I gonna have to turn off our cameras and go to the
Caswell.
I'm deep into what
it's good. At least the spirit.
This is what the students is doing.
At least the spirit of Christmas is with us. The spirit of no. You know what? No. This is a hangover from Kimar's birthday party. Kimar, thank you.
Yes. Caswell went to put on a jacket. Those of you who don't know why we're laughing like this, Kimar had to do something official in Bahamas, and we were teasing him because he put on a jacket. Caswell in the middle of the show going to put on a jacket.
Not to be outdone.
I love it.
Anyway,
I said this is both the spirit. We're still celebrating Kimar's birthday.
Ms. McLean, please continue.
But and I say this. Let me link this to what I was saying. If we don't laugh, we would cry. I am really very worried about the direction or the lack of direction right now. And if I could use some of the slogans, some of the terms that were used, we heard about what was it? When they were talking about priorities, mission critical, and whatever else. Today, I was speaking to a friend of mine who has been living outside of Barbados for a number of years. A farmer. She was actually one of my first students at KFL. I knew her before, and so on, but she was in the first group of students. She happened to be on holiday. And in talking to her, she said to me, I went down Bridgetown today. And essentially she was saying, I was shocked. And really and truly, anybody who has gone down into Bridgetown recently cannot help feel, and I used the word before, a sense of despondency. There are a number of closed buildings, and that's one thing. But as you know, with buildings, when they're closed, they fall into disrepair. The streets have been dug up and so on. I go around by the old National Insurance building. Not National Insurance, sorry, that's been taken from us and replaced. With the Freedom Park, the Treasury building. and they try as they may, they cannot get rid of the homeless. Now, I want to say this. We have been told that that Treasury building is supposed to be used for housing. And I presume it is going to be, my concern really and truly from a point of view of the history of the building and so on, why are they choosing there? How much money are we going to be spending to retrofit that building when there are young people out there looking for opportunities to be creative and want support?
Where the Treasury building, this is a building
just across from the bluish building where you used to have a lot of vagrants, where the famous or infamous Ninja Man used to hang out a lot,
right,
before he chose to go across the street. It is right across from Parliament. Our history, it's a historic building in terms of government administration.
Okay, I know where it is. Yeah.
And so I'm seeing a lot of excavation around there. I don't know if they're installing utilities or whatever. But again, this is an example of how financial resources that are supposed to be very needed are wasted. We heard of, you were talking while I was listening about the issue of the digital ID and whatever. Let me tell you, I collected my ID this week. Okay, I did not pin it. And as I told the person, I am too old. I don't want to be remembering that. I don't see a need for that, but I'm not going to go back there.
But I want to ask you though, Miss McLean, because there are people who are watching and we really want the truth to come out and people to understand what the concerns are. That this is not, and this is what I've been saying from we start the show, that we're not, this is not about pushing propaganda. Why? You're somebody who served Barbados. I know you have this country at heart. Why didn't you pin your ID, Miss McLean, former senator?
Because it, for me, is what it says. It's an ID card. If you look at the card, it has my name, it has my date of birth, it has my national registration number, and the critical. It has my photograph. It is an ID card. I have not heard any compelling reason why I need to do that. I know that there are a lot of pensioners in Barbados who need to use public transport for free, but all you need to be able to do, they used to have a way of identifying a pensioner. If they were not introducing this card, I would have gone when I was 65 years old and gotten an ID with a different background. And once I show that to a driver, he or she would know. And so I am saying that when we listen to I haven't heard compelling arguments, and in fact, I have not heard one set of arguments. I'm not going to go over that again because you've dealt with it. We have heard all kinds of back and forth in relation to that, whether it's in most recent times from the Prime Minister herself, from the minister responsible for technology, and so on. So at the end of the day, Barbados is not, and I must tell you, Marcia, I have a lot of time for Paul Kagame, but Rwanda as a country that went through genocide 30 years ago next year is a very different scenario from Barbados, which is a 166 square miles.
Correct.
And so, and also, I'm not going to go down there as well, but the nature of that country's history, which is very recent, dictates all kinds of things. If you are talking about,
I like Kagame. I must say, I like Kagame. I'm just saying.
I didn't like what you said, but I said I would deal with you off the phone.
That's okay. That's all right.
You see, that's a Western take on it. But and one day we need to talk about Africa, because for me, that is where the world's future is in terms of population.
Boy, I could not have agreed with you more.
But, because the average age of some of those countries is 30, 25, 29, 35 and so on. But we can talk about that because there's a connection that we have to, others have to make. We have made those connections already, Marcia, and we will build on those. But my worry, let's look at it sector by sector. Because as we hear about the ID card, as we hear about the divesting of governments,
assets,
of statutory corporations, BAMC, for example, all of these things are part of the terms and conditions to which the Prime Minister and her cabinet
That's
have
right,
agreed
that's right.
in terms of borrowing from
International Monetary Fund.
and the IMF is quite willing to hand over money, because at the end of the day, we are sinking further and further into a hole. And if I could contrast that with, and we hear about the homegrown solutions and all of that, but if I contrast that with the administration of which I was a part, we hear every day how much our foreign reserves are, etc. The difference between the level of foreign reserves that we had was a situation where the government was committed to making sure the foreign reserves reflected earnings of foreign exchange,
not loans.
We are borrowing
Correct.
to the
Correct.
To the high heavens.
Yeah, correct.
And we do. There are a couple of things I want to, when we talk about economy, because all of these things are impacting in terms of some of the things that I want to suggest that we need to do. We are borrowing right now. What are we using the money for? We're you know, when the government of Fernando Stewart and before him David Thompson, which was going through an economic we were facing a global crisis, were borrowing money from government. We talk about printing paper. That was money that could be repaid in Barbados dollars. Okay, it was money that was used to do a number of things. For example, when we invested in police stations, because the police, you know, the working conditions were bad, and so when we invested in those kinds of things, we were actually investing in our people. Yes, we might have borrowed money to pay salaries, but the government is the single largest employer. Now we are borrowing money in foreign currency. Terms and conditions, I would love to see spread out, because we were hearing about concessionary rates, and then we heard something else. Where so the transparency and factual information was not there. So we are borrowing money. Are we paying the same salaries, but we're paying with foreign currency that we have to pay back at a time when, let me link it now to tourism. I was happy to see today, as I went downtown, a number of people walking from cruise terminal. I spent from the inception of Bridgetown Cruise Terminals until January 2008 on the board of that entity. At some point, I was chairperson, and I know what transpired in tourism. Look at Jamaica. Look at Grenada, who is benefiting from our dear Petra Roach. Look at Antigua and Barbuda. Look at Bermuda. All of these islands, when you look at the information that they're sharing with you, they are surpassing pre-COVID statistics. When last have you heard about how much foreign exchange we have earned from tourism? You know, this is a country where, as Caswell was saying, Prime Minister Fernando Stewart didn't talk a lot, but Minister of Tourism Richard Seeley did. And I have to get political tonight, Marcia. So while you're the opposition, I am the former government. And I have to defend those things when we start. See, we now have time to do comparisons. And that is important. So you had a situation where we were hearing on a regular basis from the minister responsible a proper painting of the picture as it was. But right now we're not hearing. Jamaica, now and again we're hearing that the numbers are close to pre-COVID, but the others gone past that. I am hearing, and only the other day I said it without even realizing, and I said to somebody, you know, I have to go and visit Pure Grenada. But that's a slogan that has caught on because they're promoting. When last have we heard an advertisement in
Little Island? What Little Island? What was it? We had a slogan.
I don't remember. $750,000. The point I'm making is that there is the many hands that were supposed to make like work seems to be too many cooks spoiling the broth now. I gotta use the cliches because that's what they were using. I am worried, Marcia, that all we're hearing is foreign reserves are up and we have multiple times a weeks of whatever of whatever. We are hearing, on the other hand, that government has divested of the BAMC. I said back then, and we mentioned it sometime here, we had some discussions, if it is done in a way that will benefit the majority of people, we don't know what's happening. People were sent home without money, from what I'm hearing. I heard the minister for the first time saying very rushed. In other words, like he didn't want to talk to the reporter too long, explaining that maybe they will get the money next week or whenever.
Which
You know,
minister is this?
this
Underwear?
is Mr. Agriculture in
Underwear.
Darwin. No, I will not call him any name. He is Minister Weir. Caswell, he is your BLP friend. So you can have leave to do that. But for me, I will call him Minister Weir.
Listen, you're wearing that jacket. You need to behave yourself with that jacket, you know.
Oh, yes, of course.
Right.
Lucky I didn't put on the tie.
A tie with a t-shirt.
I would have changed the shirt.
Caswell going to jacket and underwear.
Listen, Marcia, okay, I think we can give ourselves some leeway because it's Christmas time. But in all seriousness, though, I am concerned that we hear a lot. I mean, the discussion about climate change is one in which anybody listening will think that this is a new phenomenon just taken on by the Prime Minister. Kudos to her for all that she's been able to accomplish. But as a diplomat, a foreign person suggested recently, and the person didn't use the word kudos, but they said, the Prime Minister of Barbados is looking good out there. But what's happening in Barbados? Because I don't know off the top of my head, and Kimar may have a notion, what was the number of persons leaving, and this is something I will research. I don't think I should put Kimar on his spot because he may not have it to the top of mind. Because when we think in terms of the economy, and Marcy, there's so many things on my chest that I may be all over the place. But when I think of, because of this economy, we have to think of those farmers who leave school and who are looking to get a job. Yes. We have to think of those 6 farmers who leave school and are looking to get a job. We have to think of the graduates of the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology who are leaving the institute and looking for a job. We have to think of the university graduates. And then on top of that, we have to think of all the people who you can expect to be severed because of what the Prime Minister and her cabinet have agreed to in relation to the conditions under which we get all of that money that we keep hearing about from the IMF. So my concern really and truly, Marcia, is that we enjoy Christmas, but my advice to Barbadians, we are looking down a fairly difficult, I don't want to get too extreme, a difficult road. So I would say to those, especially those getting things like part of that is $40 million, do not go wild and spend your money. Apart from the fact that payday in January is far from here, it is also going to be a difficult year. And I worry. And in addition to the fact that the private sector is not, to a large extent, it is not very innovative. It is not very diverse. There's very little being done to really create an environment in which young people can and others can explore entrepreneurial opportunity. And so when people start to talk, I tell them, I've been around long and I have been part of all the initiatives, all that have been, and this is not to boast about myself, but to lend credence to the point I'm making. I have been part of Youth in Business, which was started by David Thompson when he was a Minister of Community Development. Marcia, you may not even know that he ever was. That was before the government changed in the 90s. I was part of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme in its conceptual, in developing the program and being one of the first trainers. I was part of the Youth Business Trust. I helped develop that program. I taught the first course in entrepreneurship at Caveville, and the last project was the SEED project, which Professor Beckles would have introduced before he left to go to Mona, and I had to leave that when I went into government. The point I'm making is you've had these institutions, these initiatives, but so far they have not come together in a way in which we are able to say that we have found the best way to not only give people $5,000, right? Because you're talking about giving people $5,000, but that's a micro enterprise. That's a small business. That is, I'm talking about the youngsters who come out of SJPP, well, not PPPT, as it is, who understand electronics, who understand computer. I'm talking about the youngsters who go to community college and come out understanding how to use, understand robotics. You know, people who have been out there experimenting with our plants and whatever else, and need equipment to really get into produce. And I'm not disparaging anything that happens at the micro enterprise level, but there are only so many people who can plait hair, who can bake cakes, you know, who can open a store selling hair products, because you know, and do nails, because a lot of those things require foreign exchange. And as we look at this, and as the person said, we face a very difficult future. I sit down and I hear the Prime Minister talking about climate change. I want her to sit, or her Minister of the Environment, because I don't need to hear everything from the Prime Minister as we're doing now. Let somebody has that making the work like come forward and say to Barbadians, this is what's happening in climate change. And everybody by now would have heard about the logistics challenges that we're going to have that are going to compound the problems we had after COVID. Climate change is impacting rainfall. So you know what? Those massive vessels, post-Panamax ships that rather than carry 6,000 or 7,000 containers are carrying 15,000 containers, will find themselves parked or allowed to cross the Panama Canal in limited amounts because of lack of rainfall. What does that mean? And I'm gonna get some extremes. The aloe water and aloe drink that comes to Barbados from Korea, not that I would buy it, wouldn't get here. That might be a good thing, you know. But the point is, we rely so heavily on food, but yet we have a lot of land. Where is the grant funding that can go to a young natural scientist or a young engineer or a combined team to look and say, how do we develop a system of water capture and storage that suits a small farmer, that suits a medium-sized farmer, that can probably suit a large plantation? What about the money that can go to, and this is, I'm talking about government using some of the money that they do all fritter, doing all kind of crazy things. What about the money that can go to help? We had a very dry, hot summer, and our chicken farmers were losing out, right? And they were losing like birds. But I know of some young people that have been working on utilizing solar energy to cool chicken pens. Can they go to any agency? But yet I heard BIDC, which was involved in facilitating small business, change its name now to Export Barbados. What are we going to export if we don't support the ways in which young people, and I focus on young people because those are the ones,
the future.
Precisely.
The
you know,
future.
So I could go on because I come here just now, and I'm glad I laughed because I get too serious now. But the point I'm making is, yes, we've heard a lot of long talk, and we have 30 people sitting around a parliamentary group. Most of them are ministers, but I'm not hearing them come forward with anything. I recall, and as I said to your listeners, because I know you always say this, I have no apologies for putting on my Democratic Labour Party hat tonight. Maybe because when I put on my blue dress, I realized, you know, that is, but I'm being patriotic. But anyhow, I am very concerned that we are not seeing anything innovative. Having said all of that, Marcia, let me say this and shut up because it is now nearly 9:30. Having said all of that, and to use an expression that I use all the time, we are good at dissecting, describing, diagnosing, discussing, but we have to do. And this is one of the things I pledge. I have been approached by two persons. One is a non-Barbadian Caribbean person, and I will be fairly general because I didn't get permission from either one, who has said to me, this is somebody who is relocated to Barbados and is able to observe this country not as a Barbadian, as somebody living here, as a Caribbean person, but also as a Caribbean person who left the Caribbean a long time, but has chose in later years to come and live here. the concern is, and I think the word the person used, and I captured it, and I told the person from the time you use it, I will use it as a reminder of what is important. And the person said in the conversation I was having, but you know, we can do a lot better than this. And the concern, he says, you know, there's no sense of innovation. And therefore the question was, how can we do something outside of the formal channels or whatever, as people who have something to contribute? How can we seek to make a difference? Marcia, you know me. When I say I can do something, I can do it. I have done it. I will continue to do it. But what I want to say to you, because I know that you have also been trying to organize persons, because I believe that contrary to what we traditionally used to say, I no longer subscribe to the notion of brain drain. It happens, but I believe that if we, as I used to tell my students in strategy, an opportunity flipped on its head becomes a threat. Similarly, a threat flipped on its head becomes an opportunity. A weakness, if you flip it, can become a strength. And my thinking is that we have across the world and in Barbados the kind of intellectual capacity to make a difference. Now, of course, I will say this to you and everybody listening. When I sit down to do this, I'm not walking and asking any minister because they're going to say she is a D. I will sit down and make those things public. I will draw on the network of people that I know, Barbadians outside of Barbados and so on, to say to them, look, these are the skills and capacities you have. Bring them home to help make a difference. Because we have become, this is another concern, we have become so polarized that people are prepared to jeopardize this economy, to exclude certain people, to get rid of certain people and replace them, to use the proverbial cliche, put square pegs in round holes, who don't have an example. And I will use this example and shut up. Think of Barbados in 2009, in 2010, right through to 2017 December. The number of yachts you saw across the Careenage. If you went up to Carlisle Bay opposite government headquarters and you looked out into that lovely blue sea, which used to inspire me when I was in the Prime Minister's office, I used to sit and eat lunch at my desk and with the curtains drawn so I could look at the ocean. When you looked across there from I would say definitely from 2010 onwards, one man came with an idea and pushed it and championed it. And we had a very lucrative yachting niche. Government changes, and it behoves, is that proper English, Caswell? The Minister of Tourism, to get rid of that man as a consultant. Like how we have seen Petra Roach being huffed, but I don't think so. I think she was whatever. She ended up in Grenada. Thank Grenada is very thankful. And we are seeing, if you look down the Eastern Caribbean now, look and see what happens in the winter. Yachting is a big thing in winter. They may not have a lot, but these are men and owners of vessels who would come here and spend $500,000. One person organizing to bring a couple friends and whatever, a couple yachts, and then you had races. And I can quantify that because I've been keeping record of these things. We have lost that. So when we talk about the economy, are we serious? Are we willing to sacrifice because we want to give a job or exclude somebody? I remember when Barbadians met my former two bosses, and both of them had this to say when people had this notion, man, when we in power, no, I'm gonna do and get rid of them people. And they both said to them, they are Barbadians. They have families who are Barbadians. they have spouses, they have children, and so on. But I want to see a level of commitment to country that will allow us to make a difference in this economy. We are going down a road where we have a lot of persons, and there's a lot of money being spent. You know, people talk about consultants. Do a listing, and I can show you a list from pre-2008. I can show you a list in 2008, and I am compiling a list post-2018, and the prices are paid. There's something called Future Barbados. Kimar, you're a young person. I understand this had to do with young people. Have you had any information on this? My understanding is that you had a number of consultants probably earning $6,000 a month or more. And when I Google it, all I see was, well, you know, Google it and see Future Barbados. A lot of fancy words, but at the same time, persons with serious ideas cannot get a look in to make a difference. They can get $5,000, run into trouble because they get $5,000 for an idea that wasn't viable in the first place or not competitive. And now I think I heard Kimar speak about this. You have debt collectors running them down. So they're worse off now than when they started, because somebody figured, you know, dish out money. So Marcia, I am looking forward to celebrating Christmas. But I am also looking forward to calling on the persons who participate in this show to look to see how we can make sure that as we flag all the weaknesses, we put on the table opportunities. We know in some instances what will happen, Marcia. We've been there. And I am bringing up Marcia business. She probably doesn't want to know that she knows me, but she knows me. But we've been there in terms of being innovative. And I'm going to put a plug here. Marcia, do I have permission to talk about, is Christmas, so we hear about Mary and Joseph. Can I speak about another Joseph?
Short.
No, I can finish now. All I would say is, persons, go and Google step-by-step productions and a movie called Joseph. It is an example of grit and determination of two people led in as far as I can see the face of it, Marcia Weeks. It is a movie that was made within less than a year. It is an winning movie. It was a movie that was recognized to the extent that it ended the year of return in Ghana in 2019. But it also demonstrated that Marcia Weeks and her husband and her team had the level of commitment to demonstrating the potential. And that is the only movie so far that I have seen done by an operation like Marcia, small independent film production, but it demonstrates, we talk about cultural industries, you know, and so I really would want to say things are possible, but it's going to take a lot of work, Marcia, because if we don't do these kind of things, I worry for this country. I worry for the young people.
And we, as you said, we all have to, I hear your heart. And you know me, I'm about, I don't mind the talking, you know, guys, but I'm about action, honestly, which is why we started the nonpartisan meetings on a Saturday morning. I honestly, I'm about, and I think probably the first, I got very upset with my Bajan people was them not coming on, because to discuss how or to actually work it out. And I know, like, for example, the water group, they are doing stuff and education. We took a little break because we had a symposium and then we moved into Christmas. But come January, we're going to be getting back into it. But I think the action needs to match the talk, you know. But I want to before we jump on another topic, I see the man in the jacket is ready to go. But let me just say something here. Look at this comment on the screen, and it just underscores. I'm not going to be distracted by Caswell. It underscores what Kim, what Miss McLean was saying about about Barbados, and I am a naturalized citizen of Barbados, and I've grown to love this country. And one of the things that hurts my heart when I look and I just see the lack of energy in the place, I see what is happening. As I said, I saw the people in the supermarket. I know the people. I connect with the people in the supermarket. You could tell that things are tough. And look at what this guy says. And this is this. You might not think anything of this, Kimar. But I talk about this. My husband will tell you every time I'm in the car. You look and you see the bush all over this place, even on the highway. The bush. I mean, and this is Christmas, and you're telling me you came out and you told us that this was the fifth growing economy in the world. We're number 5, and we look like this. We're overgrown with bush. We don't have no access to clean up
But
the road.
but
One
but
second,
but
I wanna just share my heart, and then I wanna then just give me a little moment. I wanna say this here. This bothers me, right? I see it. I see it, Glenn, and it bothers me because I'm saying if I live when things are hard at my house, then I know I can't get the gardener. It's one of the last things that you get. So you're thinking about landscaping and cleaning up. You understand, Mr. Franklin? And I'm saying, when you look at the highways and you look at the roundabouts and the roundabouts are partially kept, I believe, by different
Sponsored.
companies. But look at the place. Look at the place. Look at town. Look at it. Don't look good. It don't look good. I'm sorry. It's not looking good at all. But go ahead, Dr. Nichols.
no. All I was going to say to you is you're talking about the bush, but that's if you can get through the oil wells that are being developed all along the roadways to get to areas where the bushes are. And I'm talking about potholes. I'm
Yeah.
talking about condition of our roads.
Yes.
It's horrendous. I mean, I've lived in this country 66 years. My father was involved in road works at the Ministry of Transport and Works many years ago, and helped to develop some of the roads in St. Andrew, where it's very difficult to do roadways in St. Andrew because of the land slippage. And my dad was involved in all of that kind of work down in the St. Andrew area, where I watched them build up those stone things in the wires. I don't know what to call them or anything
Gabions.
like that. Yeah, and to stop the thing from moving. And I'm appalled. I'm appalled to think that tourists, have you driven up through Bridgetown? Have you driven up Bay Street? Have you driven through any of the streets in Bridgetown and leaving Bridgetown along the main routes? My wife and I were coming down. Maxine would know where you live in St. George, coming down through Bourne's Village, and coming down to Lower Estate. The main highway to go to Bathsheba on the East Coast Road of Barbados is the worst road you can find. And we are $500+ million in debt for refurbishing of roads. And I can't see our main roads that the tourists are traveling on refurbished and repaired.
Yeah.
I mean, it burdens my heart, honestly. I absolutely, and I endorse Maxine. I will make myself available. I will make myself available.
I want to.
So before you,
Go ahead, Akimar.
right, before you go on, I just want to interject a piece here and then pass over to you, because I wanted to summarize some of what Maxine was saying in one letter, right? And this is one letter that I wrote to the Nation newspaper on Ryan Strong, so that Barbadians to get an understanding as to where this money is going. You remember how the slogan saying they're stealing that building? But I can show you exactly where Ryan Strong has been taking his steel from in Barbados and building faulty houses on, right? This thing is dangerous. Maxine started by saying that she was asking about jobs, she was asking about growth, and where it was coming from. During COVID, remember how far down the economy went. Hardly anybody had any work, right? And the government came up with the idea to create what we call a Jobs and Investment Committee. Now remember that. And this Jobs and Investment Committee had about 8 people on it. And I'm going to share the screen here so that you can see. Tell me if you're seeing it well, right? And they got Ryan Strong here. So I wrote a letter to the public. Even the Nation newspaper carried it, so that was good, right? This was Ryan Strong seeking to borrow $200 million from the IDB on a loan, right? And Ryan Strong wanted to borrow this loan under the pretense of this Jobs and Investment Committee, right? This was the same committee that Oinafa was on before he died. This was the committee with the former finance minister, Chris Sinclair, on it, right? And the role of this committee was supposed to find 20,000 jobs in Barbados. Y'all remember that, right? And this was on top of the 1,000 jobs that the Prime Minister promised the students at university, right? So moving along, I wrote this letter, and the letter says here that this is an issuance of grave concern with the government of Barbados and the IDB loan seeking to borrow an additional $200 million and the heightened perception of corruption and unethical practices within the government, right? Taken from the executive summary of Transparency International, this year's corruption perception index paints a grim picture of the state of corruption worldwide, and the pandemic is not only a health crisis or economic crisis, but a corruption crisis with countless of lives. Hey, sorry about that. Yeah. So it says here that countless lives were lost due to government corruption and undermining of a fair and equitable response to the issues of the day. And I raised some concerns about the letter that Ryan Strong wrote to the IDB, signed by Ryan Strong, that was on the front page of the Nation newspaper, right? In that letter, they had a component 4. And component 4 of that letter to the acting IDB president said that the $200 million loan that the government of Barbados wanted to borrow was for economic and fiscal strengthening for after the pandemic, right? However, the blatant red flag in component 4 of the letter was the reason that Ryan Strong gave for wanting to borrow this money, right? The reason that he used was the recommendations from a progress report of the measures prioritized by the same Jobs and Investment Committee. When I did the investigations, there was no report available. There was no progress report nowhere, right? So Ryan Strong could not produce any progress report that he said was the reason for borrowing the money. At no point in time did the Jobs and Investment Committee report or publish any findings, any studies, anything whatsoever, and put it to the public. No town hall, no press conference, no media statement, nothing, right? Just to give a little backstory here on the Jobs and Investment Council, it was established in April 2020 by the Prime Minister of Barbados, right? And the members, according to her, were supposed to report back to the government within 2 to 4 weeks since April 2020, right? Some developments changed on the committee. As you know, Oinafa died. And as we know, Chris Sinclair, he's working abroad at the World Bank, right? So I went on here now and I say that I suspect that there are allegations of unethical practices and heightened perceptions of corruption within the Ministry of Finance and Government, that Ryan Strong, the minister, may have falsified that letter in his signature to the IDB in claiming that the use of the recommendations from the Jobs and Investment Committee as a reason for borrowing that loan, given the fact that the committee was non-functional. It was not a meeting, right? So I raised the question about it. I mean, I didn't get any answer. But I asked for, in the bid for transparency, for Ryan Strong to publish the same progress report that he claimed that the committee with Oinafa and Chris Sinclair and everybody, right? They did this report and gave to him, and based off that report, he's borrowing $200 million in debt from the IDB based off that report. The report never showed it anywhere. The report does not exist, right? So I then accused Ryan Strong that this is twice since the public asked him to answer questions about it. No answer. However, he was talking all over his face, right? And then the government, if you remember, established what we call an anti-corruption unit with Doreen Dotton as the head of this unit, right? Which was a joke anyway. But I just want to give you some of the names of the persons who were on that committee, right? Oinafa, his job specifically was the industrial aspect, and he was supposed to find the 20,000 jobs for people. He passed away, so that never happened. We had Chris Sinclair on it, right? We know where Chris Sinclair is. We had the Honorable Eugene Barato, who was the principal at KFL at the time, or the professor at KFL at the time. We had Derek Foster, right? We had Senator John Rogers on that committee, the senator. We had Tony Hoyas, right? We had Annalie Bab on that committee as well, right? Caswell, tell me if you ever heard anything about any committee meeting to give any recommendations to the government to make any money. But still, you had Ryan Strong going forward, sending a letter on the front page of the Nation saying that he want to borrow $200 million in debt to deal with the issues of COVID and find jobs and do this and do that. And the committee was not meeting, but he's still the minister today. So I hope that you understand, Maxine, exactly why the economy of Barbados is in the position that it is in, because we can clearly see what's happening here. They are pilfering the people's money using false documents, right? And this is a clear example. And Ryan Shaw needs to be held accountable for this, because there's no way that he could be going and borrow $200 million from the IDB on recommendations from a committee that never met. Wrong. Should be fired and asked to resign. But over to you, Caswell.
Thanks, Kimar. You know, I wanted to just make a couple of corrections to something that Maxine said. She said there's no innovation. I'm going to give her some examples of innovation from this government. They have found innovative ways to borrow money. They borrow money for climate change. Kimar just told you to borrow money for jobs and investment. They borrowed money from for Kensington. All of these ways, you said there's no innovation. They have been very innovative in the way they have found to get their hands on some money. And aside from borrowing money now for innovation, they have actually been in innovation because right now they are paying criminals not to kill people. All of this is innovation, you know. They have no idea what to do, how to manage the economy, how to run this country. And we are sitting down and letting them do it. So, Max, I hope you were listening just because you were off.
Yeah, she's muted. She's muted.
Yeah, but so you heard about the innovation that you did. I think all good. And then
I don't agree with you that is innovation.
What does innovative ways to find money?
No, but I was talking about facilitating the innovation and innovativeness of the people who want to create.
I know that's what you're talking about, but I turn it around.
Now I understand what you're saying.
I'm going to tell you, and they find innovative ways to victimize people, because you were talking about the yachts, and you refused to mention the name of the man that was doing it. A fellow called Peter Jilks. Everybody knew he was a senator in the
yes.
In the DLP administration.
With me, yes. And
so because he was a Dem and he had a good idea and it was working.
And making a lot of money. People came, bought properties, set up businesses after the yachting races and so on. But go ahead, sorry.
You won't call it, but I can call it.
No, that's
because I ain't calling it in any bad way, so you can't sue me. He was innovative, getting the yachts. You know yachts in St. Lucia? And the reason why this is done,
and the Grenadines.
Yeah, right. The reason why this is done is because the Dems are supposed to suffer. They're telling you also up front, but they're making sure that every time they do something, there's a Dem to hurting. Do not forget, we had so many public servants involved in the elections, the last elections, and the only two people that they actually brought before the commission were two teachers who ran the Democratic Labour Party. So they were trying to destroy the Democratic Labour Party and come up saying, oh, we're going to give them 2 seats in Senate. We don't want to give them 2 seats in Senate. You want to destroy them.
But you know, Caswell, in trying to do that, look at the folly. My son always used to love to hear me use this word folly because it's not a word young people use. Look at the folly of such an attitude. You have deprived the country of the talent. In fact, I understand that he was replaced by a man of the cloth. I don't know if he thought he could make sale.
I know that's what Maxie. This is the same fellow at community college who was teaching
I believe so.
a course in ethics, And then
Mr. Caswell, let's not get too
and then
into the weeds.
give the kids the exam questions.
Listen, I
What
said
ethical?
what I said.
Well, we will say it's alleged that he gave.
No. It was proven. No, it was proven. It was all over the newspapers. No. And that is who they choose, a man, this ethical person, to replace a man who knew what he was doing. What the man that knew what he was doing was a dem. So we can't have dems run this country. We cannot afford. Barbados is too small for us to be so
Politically polarized.
Just thanks. Everybody got talents. That Barbados, their party got. As a matter of fact, I ain't finding none in this government. But you got out there and you try to destroy them. And what has happened? Barbados has lost out. And be out there begging people to lend us money for all kind of monkey schemes and hiring consultants. Let me show you something. You remember they had a consultant that had plaque the prime minister here. What we do with it? Paying $8,500 a month, but you couldn't get the prime minister hold on to get you here a plaque or what we do with it. And eventually they call it a chief of protocol. Yes.
Speak about the position. Don't worry about yeah.
No. I'm telling you. It moved from $8,000 when she's gonna get the hair plaque to something called chief of protocol. When we already have one of those in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You remember them?
But I worked with some very good chiefs of protocol. Yes.
Oh, good. But yet still now we got one duplicating. So let me show you where the money is going.
Stick a pin there. Let me say something, if you don't mind, because it's important that you raise that. You have what I call a replication of critical public service positions, and you know what happens? I have sat down and watched individuals who know very little about protocol. I am speaking who might have gone as far as Buckingham Palace, I suspect, to try to understand this thing, rather than observe what is supposed to be done. I mean, I've been embarrassed recently, to be quite honest, either watching on television or or other media, and or being in places where it is clear that the person did not understand, or persons. So rather than let the officials who have been trained, who have been, you're creating these political jobs which parallel public service positions, and therein lies a whole set of confusion. What could have been done with that money? And I so go ahead, Caswell, because I want to come back to something.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because that's what was going on. We then turn around and form a department to take over the functions of the GIS. You remember that one?
Yes. And the question is, are those people public servants? Are they political appointees?
No, they are public servants according to the law, but they are appointed contrary to the law.
Okay.
They are appointed contrary to the law. The law sets out Section 3, the Public Service Act, how those jobs must be taken care of, and who should be responsible for them. The Prime Minister and her people ignore everything that the law says. A law, by the way, that was passed by the Barbados Labour Party in its dying days in 2007. It was one of the last pieces of legislation that was passed in Parliament before the general elections in 2008.
Remind people of what that piece of legislation was about. The title, what was it again?
The Public Service Act.
Right.
And they ignore the Public Service Act. Prime Minister create jobs and create temporary offices in the public service. But even temporary offices, you must have the public service, but don't call it Public Service Commission, but they call it the another innovative name. Oh Lord, they call it kind of funny name now. You know what I mean?
Come back to you.
Come back to me. Administrative General and Professional Service Commission.
Right.
Yes, that's what I know. They are supposed to handle those jobs, but not one passes through them, or their secretariat, which is the Ministry of Public Service, and who deals with appointments and stuff. No, you had a person who was a senator, and then head of department in the public service. Impossible in law. you remember? I made some noise about it, and then eventually the mayor, CEO of the Barbados, they were party. But they would do anything until somebody says to hold them up to scrutiny.
I think these things have to be captured on in writing, because, and so people understand what Casper really is talking about. Traditionally in Barbados, the prime minister had a small political staff, as they were called, probably about 4 persons. That would have been identified. They were not public officers, and they worked and they dealt with that. Now, from what I understand, Caswell listed a couple of the people.
Maxine is frozen.
Frozen.
Well, Marcy, I just wanted to show you this.
Okay, we're back, because it seems as though when we start talking, we go into a tailspin.
That's Instagram.
We're
still going.
Wow.
Oh, we're still on Instagram. Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was just an hour. Okay.
So looking at all of this, as Kaz was saying, we have what was allegedly a commitment. It was a promise that we were going to have, good governance and transparency, and it is as transparent as open is as transparent as mud. I wanted to touch on what Kimar made reference to the Jobs and Investment Committee. I suspect this may be one of those committees that, and there is still a record of his reaction, his being former Prime Minister Owen Arthur, his reaction to the appointment of some committee that he had made clear he did not want.
He did not want to be a part of it. Yes, ma'am.
Precisely. And
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
go through, that's the jobs, and if that one, I mentioned Future Barbados, and their whole set of things where persons, but I don't know if the committee ever met, and so I don't know, you might not have met, but you might have consulted by round robin. So I would just leave Kimar. You mentioned the letter. Let's just say that we have no evidence that they met. And if there's, they could share minutes of meeting or whatever. They might have done some round robin thing. I don't know. But in the absence, it certainly was not an active committee. And it is one of many that seem to have died a sudden, quick death. I mentioned Future Barbados. When I Googled it and I saw some space looking things.
Yep, I am looking at it right now.
Precisely, some strange looking things.
Yes.
And as I try to understand, let me see if I can get the basic gist of why this thing was created. And unfortunately, I will say this, I have listened oftentimes where the ideas are not fleshed out, and we end up with these fancy sounding things, but to me, buzzwords count for very little in the final analysis. But
Maxine, you remember there was also a committee that didn't report yet, that a 30-man committee or something like this, when they came up with the slogan little island big Barbados or something like that.
Yes,
there
tourism.
was this committee that was supposed to meet to develop a slogan. How long ago was that this committee to come up with a slogan?
About 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah, I could have find one slogan and you have pay me.
I will ask. Maybe we can ask the people in Grenada who came up with Pure Grenada. And
Grenada that you could be talking about that now.
And how much they paid for it?
How much I paid for it? But listen, can we get some homework here, right? And
yes.
You're writing as we're going, right?
You read my mind, Marcia. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask Caswell, because as much as I hear Miss McLean saying don't talk about the hairdresser and so on, but I think the point that Caswell is making.
I just want to make the point differently. That's all.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, he's going to do it Caswell way, but he's talking about wastage. And all I'm saying to everybody, whenever we're saying anything, if we don't know, we say, if it's not true, like what was coming in the newspaper, we say it's alleged, right? But what I'm saying is this, Caswell, can you, sir, General, again, your homework? for our show, the last set of shows that we're going to do, that's the 29th, December 29th, the Friday. And we might have to do a show on the Saturday because we can't do any on the Monday, right? That weekend, right? That we're doing shows. Can Caswell, can you prepare something on the wastage? The wastage, the way how we have, like for example, all of these the
Committees.
consultants and all of these, you know, and these committees that were formed that we never heard the light of day. Can you think you could do that, Mr. Franklin, for us? Because we're doing a year in review, right? We want to do the year in review, and let's look at that, the year in review. And I'm thinking, Miss, what do you think about that, Mr. Franklin?
It's a good idea, and I can try to get it done.
I will share any information I have with you, sir.
We are pleased because I'm still working.
I'm not.
It's a lot of work, you know. It's going to be a lot of work because there's a lot of bad things that they did, you know. Maxine, I don't think you know about this one. You know, they come up with this slogan, "This is who we are."
Oh yes.
That is the slogan for MSNBC. The board that too.
But you know, it's all of this because I think if we can get it done, if we could get it done early, and here I'm putting Kimar on the spot. You can tell me, Kimar, he's the youngest one. He don't have no house to you know put up no curtains and all of these things. But listen, he won't be doing that at his house. Is what I'm trying to say. That now that
it is done. It's done for him to enjoy. It is done and he enjoys it.
He enjoys it. Now we are making assumptions, right, Kimar? But
yeah, boy, y'all really off base with that one.
In the same way that I learned that he's being trained how to cook. I mean,
he's a very good chef.
But then proceed, Marcel. Let us not.
What I was saying is that if we can, I'm a believer in the people seeing. You know, we are really about education. I would love for the people to be able to see it. You know, Mr. Franklin, if we could do like a PowerPoint, if you get the information and we can get somebody to put it in a PowerPoint, so we can have it listed as we go through all the wastage, because all of that committee, if they appoint a committee, do they have to pay these people on the committee, or they're not paid?
I'm not sure about committees, but I can tell you, we're talking about consultants, because everybody, I mean, the consultants coming through your ears and everywhere.
Okay, so let's deal with the consultants, okay, and let's put the wastage before the people. And Timar, can you come up with? I can't find a nicer way to say it. I've been trying. Miss McLean might be able to help us. 4 p.m. edition of All In. Miss McLean might be able to help us, but I want us to be able to come up with the top 20. If we come up, if we could come up with like the lies that have been told. For example, when you take this ID, I'm not talking the lies of a person. Let's talk about the administration then.
Broken promises. I'm gonna be nice.
Broken promises.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look at the ID. Look how many narratives what we've been told about the ID. You understand what I mean? Look at even that. We've had about 3 different things being told to us about this ID, and it's confusing, right? So if Kimar, you think you can work on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Or you prefer something in the economy? What do you think?
Well, both. We don't got much option.
That would also fall into Kimar's bailiwick, you know, in terms of economy, because there are a lot of broken promises there too.
Yeah.
You know, I am being nice. I'm a marketer, you know, so I kind of dress it nicely.
Yeah, so you put it real nice, because a broken promise is if you promise me something and due to some type of unforeseen circumstance you were not able to get done. No.
Broken, you know, and you mean you can get done, no, but break it because you did anyway. You go ahead. Or you go ahead.
But there's a difference when your name is Lionel. You just lie, and as Caswell said,
as
Caswell said, We have chronic people who like your first disposition is to lie first and then say, but you know what? I could have told the truth from the beginning. You know? But I don't know. I guess people criticize the last prime minister for not saying much. But at least we knew we had somebody in integrity who are supposed to lie with keep all the silence. He wouldn't say anything. Right? But when you have a disposition of where you openly lie to people to get them to do things that are against their own benefit, right? But at first, they say, well, you don't got to pay the IDs. No, you got to pay the IDs. First, it wasn't mandatory. No, it's mandatory.
Yeah,
First, the job wasn't mandatory. Then no, it's mandatory, right?
Okay.
Independence Day, it was never going to be changed to Republic Day. No, it's being changed. So those are blatant lies as opposed to a broken promise.
Okay.
I think
That's why I'm telling you. I've been trying, Miss McLean. I wrote it down and I said, I don't like that sound, but I don't know what else. I'm honest. I'm not trying to pretend. I wanted to send it to the what is this? What? How did Mr. Franklin learn in school? Look at what he's doing. He brought up the thing showing NBC, the NBC logo.
This is who we are. They even copy that.
I know the NBC logo.
They even copy that.
and the story gathering too. The story we gathering. Remember we gathering?
The gathering, we know, Miss McLean and I know where they got that
There's
from.
a story about we gathering. When we were organizing our diaspora, I was visited by someone out of Ireland, I think it was, because that's where they had something like that, and was trying to sell me on the term, and sell me on probably a consultancy too. And I said, no, this is going to be truly homegrown. We will do it. So we didn't need to borrow anybody's title or whatever. So we had our diaspora initiatives without that. Bridgetown, whatever.
Maxine, you will recall, just to show another lie. When we gathering had to be canceled because of the COVID, they already had some coins with a little blue thing in the middle of dollar coins. Those were to be given out for the regathering.
I got two.
And then when the regathering come off, they dust them off and say, "We have these for the heroes."
I got one at the supermarket this week.
You were a hero? Oh, I thought you were a hero.
No, I got a supermarket in change.
Listen,
they just don't tell the truth.
I don't know
and they give them to the nurses and stuff and say, because you're special, we're going to give this to you. That was where we're gathering. They can't help it.
It seems to be a lot of deception.
No, it's a chronic truth-telling problem. It's a chronic truth-telling problem. Like for instance, if you have some illness and you just it's going on and on and on. They say it's chronic. Well, they have this chronic truth-telling problem. Every time they tell the lies, they can't help it. No, it's chronic.
It's a lot of it. To me, it's a lot of deception, and so I will. And we don't. We can talk about the government, and do it as a broad thing like that. But seriously, it has to be addressed because, we will come up with something. We'll come up with a name for it, right? What I would like for Dr. Ferdinand to do, we can present it on here. I would want him to talk about, those things in the arm, but we can't talk about it on this program at all. So, but we will talk, Reverend Ferdinand, on what else. We probably can look at some of the laws that are coming in terms of the Constitution and the areas in there where we need to be concerned about. We'll have a talk about that and see the child protection bill and so on. Things that are coming up, things we need to
we have the World Health Organization that resolution that they're pushing. I think, to be signed by all 190 something countries.
Yeah,
I
so
think
we
in
have
May
to
next
deal
year.
when we're dealing with that. We
Yeah.
have to be careful of the language that we use, though.
Yeah.
So we can have a further conversation. But it's to look at
Yeah.
what we have, what we need to
These
be
are the things
aware
coming
of.
down the pipeline.
Yes, what we need to be aware of. So we can Miss McLean, can you look at you owe me this one a long time ago. Tourism, to look at what are did we make any strides in the year, or what are the blunders, and where are we in versus to where we were before. Can we do a comparison in terms of tourism? So if you could do tourism and then compare it to the other islands, compare where we are to the other islands. I think that is good. We still didn't go looking at economy big enough. I think Kimar, you and I can do those. I'm not sure if what we're calling them. I'm sure not promises, because I'm not sure, but it's deception. It's something to do with deception, or something there. I can help with that, Kimar, so you can look at the economy, because we need to look at that. What do you think?
I'm fine. Over to Kimar.
Kimar?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a big story to be told about the economy, especially we had the most vocal leader opposition, man. Yeah, but I just don't know. They corral a whole two unions, right? They corral two unions to block receiving a 12% pay increase from the federal government, right? Say that they wanted 21%, and then when they came out to power, they took 4.
And get a little piece extra on top as a bonus for doing that, I guess.
To be able to do that, I don't know what she told her. I don't know what sweet words they were able to tell those junior leaders. I don't know what they gave them. But to be that skilled,
they get duty-free cars.
Whoa.
They get duty-free cars. I was offered one. Somebody called me from the Ministry of Finance and tell me, you know, you're a union leader and you really entitled to duty-free car. I said, no, I am not.
I can see Casual in his jacket and Mercedes Benz.
You know,
don't forget on the rear.
I would hit the damn thing because I be too careful. Try to be too careful with it. You know?
Well,
you know, and
I played my part, Mr. Franklin, in providing a duty-free car for the former leader of the Barbados Workers Union. That was my sale.
You know,
that was my sale, my friend.
Under the legislation, the minister can waive any tax, duty, cess, you name it. And that's what the minister did. You are not entitled as a general secretary of any union to get a car or to get anything like that. You they are doing you a favor.
The application was made and it was waived.
And I said, now I don't want no favors. If it is generally available to anybody in this position, I will take it. Or otherwise I will continue to drive my wife's Suzuki. You know, because I don't want nobody come back and saying to me, why give you a duty-free car? You know, they can't do that.
There's a whole they said they give you $400 and get on the platform and talk about it.
You know? And they said they said to pay my rent.
Yeah.
You know? I think I was even renting. I was working from right here.
Yeah.
Another lady.
You know, somebody's asking, what will the supporters look at? I love that idea. What will you look at, Tyrone? What do you want to look at, Tyrone? Please message me and let me know. Tyrone is a big supporter of the opposition. Let us know what you want to look at, Tyrone. What do you, as the supporters, what do you want to look at? You know, and you know what, we can have we can get that phone up and going, Mr. Franklin, that people can call in and talk about the issues that most concern them in the year, right? So
Marcy, I just sent you a suggested title from what someone watching the program.
Yes, okay. No, I'm serious because I've been racking my brain, right?
Somebody just said something to me, and I sent it to you. Did you get it?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm going to send it to the others. Yeah. So somebody says broken BLP. Oh, I got it now. Sorry. Somebody tell me I laugh out brawling, when I read it. But anyway, it says, Casual, let me laugh out so loud on these programs. It says BLP, broken laws and promises. They break a lot of laws. Mr. Franklin, right? And they break a lot of promises, right?
And they're the BLP.
Broken laws and promises. I'm going to send it to you, right? And tell me, guys, how you feel that sit with that. I like that. I like that.
Well, that is better than mine because I had lies, damn lies, and deception. But but I think that's better than mine.
Oh Lord, oh man. Oh boy, yeah. But we probably add the word government on that because we're not, it's not about a partisan thing. Right. So that's the only thing I think, but we can always sleep on it and see. But I don't want, it's because listen to me. Rob Thorne, he's BLP, but I'm glad he's speaking out. I'm glad Mr. Thorne is speaking out. He's BLP, but he's standing up and he's speaking. We need more of the BLP, of those
to
30.
do that. As I said, you're not hearing from the other 29 for the most part. Interesting though, Marcia, and I must comment on this. I listened to part of the debate. In fact, I was listening to Parliament when not Mr. Thorne, but Minister Simmons was speaking. And he was speaking very loudly and he was very adamant and forceful. It was only when I heard Mr. Thorne's speech that I said, oh, okay, something must have, some people probably, I don't know who spoke first, but I found it interesting because I was like, who's walking up this gentleman? But then maybe, I don't know, I would have to check and see if Mr. Thorne spoke first or if there was sometimes you may have a notion of people who might signal they want to speak on a particular bill. But I just found it interesting that some people seem to wake up. But the other thing, though, was what I found disturbing was a video somebody shared, and this is something that concerned me. And I didn't sit in the House, but I sat in the Senate as leader of government business. And when we were ready to start business, I would say to my colleagues, please find yourself in the Senate. Because I looked around and there were probably, I was counting, I guess they probably had enough to make a quorum, but there were a whole set of
just barely. There were only 9. I counted them.
That's right. I counted them and I said, I think they have a quorum. And it was interesting that this was supposed to be an important, all legislation is important, but there are some pieces that are of critical importance and people were absent. And I can go back and watch it for the entire thing and see the extent to which people might have joined because, watching for X amount of time does not necessarily reflect the entire thing. But from what I saw, people were absent. And that's another concern.
There were 9. I counted them when it started. There were 9. And the House cannot start with less than 9. So that's the
bare minimum. 9. And if anybody leaves, then you don't have,
Yeah, but guys, we've gone over time because I know I gave about 30 minutes to the movie. And, right, and listen, I have to go and season up my meat. I can't cook, but Kimar is a chef, so Kimar know that I've got to let the thing marinate. my jerk pork and
I have to do something too, Marcia. I have to
go and eat.
Yes. I don't season or anything, but I am the sampler and I usually sample large portions.
And you need to have a proper sample to know that the meal was good. And you have to pass judgment. So Marcia, I will pass at some point and get some of the jerk pork. So or you can bring some when you come to school.
So right. December 26th, guys. The next time we see each other, those of you who are able to, we want to support this African movie, Miss McLean.
So you decided to go on the 26th? That's good.
The 26th.
What time does it start?
3:15.
Oh, but that's early. I will fall asleep.
I'm supporting because I know what it is when our film was being shown in Nigeria.
Yes.
And so we want to go and support them. and we'll be able to see, we can see each other, take some pictures again, and so on at the cinema. And then on the throughout the holiday, we're going to try to put up some reruns, some recordings. For example, the one about with Neil Harper, we're going to try to put that up. Just put up stuff about the ID, and keep it before the people, even though we won't be live. But our next live show will be on the 29th. Okay. And that is going to be quite hot because we're reviewing that entire, we're going to review, and I'm hoping we'll be able to send out a little poll so that you can get involved. We want to put a poll together, Kimar. We've been talking about it, but we haven't done it yet. Let's put a poll out so that we can get the views from the people. All right? So we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Don't overspend, right? Don't put your overeat. Don't overeat.
And celebrate the birth of the Christ child.
The reason for the season.
The reason for the season. Yes, celebrate that.
Well,
celebrate the Messiah.
I'm going to assure you.
I have promised to.
I can assure you, I'm not going to overeat.
Two of you talking at the same time. Miss McLean, you would speak last as well. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I promised myself to do something I've not done before, and that is to go into Queen's Park Christmas morning. I've never done it. And last year, I after church, I passed, and I was trying to find somewhere to park, and then I said, nah, but I promised. And I have
I might do that. I went once already, but I was working. I was there. I wasn't like dressed up or anything. So I don't know. I'll see. I might be too tired. I'll see.
Caswell in this jacket.
The jacket. Caswell promoted the jacket now.
Yeah, look at the
I'll have to put some red. I'll have to put on some red.
But Kimar, you cooking, Kimar?
Me? Man, at Christmas.
I like that though.
At Christmas, usually somebody's got to cook for the chef,
That's true.
Hang out your boots at this time.
Yes.
Okay,
Caswell, we leave the last word for you, sir.
No, well, I just got to say that I can assure you I'm not going to overeat, and overspending is going to be an impossibility. I don't. So, my Lord. But I would encourage people, if you got some of that money that the government is encouraging you to spend, because people will owe that money for years, There are some people who didn't get their returns for years. I know the government is coming to give it to you because they want to get it back. And you remember Don put up a video saying, Don that came on the show, he put up a video trying to point out to the people that the government just trying to get less money from you. They can get 17.5% of all that money that they pay out. So this is a way for government to get their hands on your money. They don't want you to keep it. I would encourage people, do necessary spending. If you have to
buy gold,
spend it, do so. But unless you need it for a particular purpose, save it, because the way this country is going, you will need it in February and down the road. So please do not let the government trick you again into spending the money, and they're trying to get credit for it. But you tell, we give you money, they ain't giving you the money. It's yours that they had for you for too long. So please have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy yourselves, but don't overdo.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin. Thank you, Kimar Stewart. Always so, on point. Thank you. You came all fired up tonight. Thank you, Miss McLean, for coming on and lending your contribution. Always a pleasure to hear you. And of course, to my co-host, His Excellency Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols. Thank you so very much. He does a lot of work behind the scenes to help me to make sure that this program happens. You might not see him. You might not, all the time saying a lot, but he's working behind there, sharing and just helping me. and I appreciate it, sir. I really, really do.
My
It's
pleasure.
a
My
pleasure.
pleasure.
Yes, yes.
And
All
remember,
right.
when one door closes, another one opens. They're not
Yes.
going to get us down. Remember, here we are on
No.
Instagram. When one
We
door closes, another open. Don't ever forget that.
Yes, can I tell you all something? Tell you the truth. I was trying from for days now, and then today after one, I laid on the bed and I'm trying again, and I couldn't get it, Kimar. I got so frustrated, man. Dave gonna hear this now. We said we're not eating the chocolates until Christmas, and when I went, I had three, Dave. Listen, I was so frustrated. I went and had some sticker bars.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But you know, I thank God
I
for the young people. I called Jonathan. I said, Jonathan, help me, please, Jonathan. Help me, Jonathan. Help me figure out what I'm doing wrong here. And Jonathan, he was so kind. You know, Jonathan who comes on the shows, and he said, okay, let me see your screen. Take a picture, and he walked me through it so gentle.
Nice.
And he told me what
wonderful.
I was doing wrong, and that's what happened. So we love the young people, man, and we need to make
Oh
sure that.
yes. Oh yes.
Listen, we have to have Don back on, Kima, Jonathan, the young man, Miss McLean. I gave him your number. We need to have them on that weekend. Everybody come on the show because the young people, we need them. We need them. So because of them, we're
Yes.
on Instagram. Thank you all so much. God bless you.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas to everyone. God
Yeah.
bless you. Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas to our team.
Square
And Merry
for David,
Christmas to
everybody.
all those people.
Everybody,
Yes.
Remeem,
Elaine
SDNH,
and
Merry
Beverly. Yes,
Christmas.
all of them. Merry
Everybody,
Tony
Christmas.
Paris.
Sharon.
Everybody.
Yes.
Everybody, Merry Christmas,
Merry
Blind
Christmas,
Griffin,
Judah.
Petra
Yes.
Gemma, Square 4, Richard
Pauline,
Mears.
Mystic and Angel.
Joseph.
Yes,
Yes.
From Grenada and Canada.
yes.
Amen. Sandra and Richard Mears and Pedro Gemma. Merry Christmas. God bless you all. Maxine, Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you. Merry
Kimar,
Christmas, everybody.
to you and Caswell and Marcia, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
God
Ha,
bless.
somebody said, this one for Caswell. Somebody said, and underwear.
As well, just a bit of jacket and underwear.
And
But you know,
underwear.
you can do that. You can do that on these virtual programs. You know, he could very well be the jacket and underwear, and we don't know.
Y'all are very happy. I like it.
It's the spirit of the season, I believe.
Yes,
You know?
yes, yes,
I am
yes,
signing
yes.
off. I'm signing off before this gets R-rated. Bye.